Good evening, curling world. Welcome to the 6 o'clock draw here on our second day already at the third edition of the Men's World Curling Tour competition here in Adelboden. We have a very tasty evening encounter for you this evening. Our featured game here is Team Hösli, last year's winners in 2021, and they are playing Team Klima from Czech Republic. And I think this will be a fairly close encounter, and we just joined it in the first end. It is Team Hösli who have last stone advantage in this first end. We'll say hello to the teams in just a minute.
Yes.
And a very conservative start here. My name is Lorna Rettig, and I will be talking us through the game this evening. Very conservative start. Right tactics from Team Klima. They're not the ones with last stone, and they don't want to get into trouble early in this first end. They've had a long wait, Team Klima. The first game on the ice for them was yesterday evening, in fact. That was the very first round. They took on younger Italian team, not the Team Retornaz that we're used to seeing from Italy, but Team Ribotta, who were also at this competition last year. Team Klima taking them on yesterday evening and having a nice strong 7-3 victory, and then a bit of a long wait for them. They had their bye at the lunchtime draw, but they've had a day to enjoy the lovely sunshine here in Adelboden. If you haven't visited Adelboden here in the Swiss mountains, quite close to Interlaken, I really recommend it. It is lovely. And for the first time since the inception of the Adelboden World Curling Tour tournament here, we can invite you to the club. The past couple of years we had to be a little bit careful because of pandemic restrictions, but the risk's sufficiently low now that we can invite guests back to the club room. So if you want to visit a beautiful Swiss mountain town, come join us. You will have a lovely time. The camera nodding along with me, agreeing there. Early mistake from Klima's team though. Early mistake from the Czechs there. Not catching enough of that stone, and early opportunity for the Höslis to put a second counter way on the other side of the house. And let's see if Lukas Klima feels up to a big across-the-house double in this first end.
Go.
Can't quite see from our angle, but I think that might be a let-off for the Czechs. I think that yellow might be just out front. But as we would say, it's no use long. That yellow out front, that's a stone they can use again, either to maybe split with a last shot or to sneak one in behind. And oh gosh, has he caught enough of it this time? Goodness me. The Czechs living awfully dangerously in this first end.
Nemyslím si, že jsem se odrazil tak málo.
Ne, vypadal si dobře. Pak prostě přijel nulovým.
Erste Gedanke ist rundum.
Drum! Sehr gut!
Couple of loose shots from both teams then. Hösli's team with last stone advantage in the first end. They would love to put 2 up on the board right away. Really give them a jump start into this game.
Achtung, Vieh! Ja! Oh, ja, Marsch! Ja, Vieh verteilen!
And gosh, this one's really caught the curl.
Vieh verteilen!
Has it got the beans to split? That's still pretty nice. There we can see that yellow on the far left now. That definitely is in the house. And the one closer to the centre line. A little bit difficult to tell from here, but a very dangerous stone.
Pojede to zase málo po tom straně. Jestli to zase pojede málo po tom kraji.
Oni tady hráli celkem dost. Čekám, že to bude lepší než tam.
Fajn.
First things first, the Czechs want to remove this stone. They would love to roll directly behind that other yellow, whether that yellow near the centre line, whether that's in or not. They would love to get a perfect hit and roll in behind.
Lukáš!
Once again, living a bit dangerously, the Czechs. They're right to be throwing this gentler way.
Out! Heck!
Žádný odskok.
Give your sweepers something to do. Give your sweepers a chance to control the direction. You don't see so many of the huge weights anymore. But golly, this ice is very curly as well. That's another thing you see more of these days, is very fast, very curly ice. So you still have to be a bit careful. If you're a bit of an old-fashioned player from the 1980s, like I am, it can catch you out. You need to put a lot of handle on sometimes to keep a stone straight.
Yes!
And now the boys sweeping this shot for all they're worth. And gosh, what a good sweep that was. Well, that's warmed everybody up.
Gaan we net uitrollen.
Ale takhle obeneš nebo?
Ne, takhle.
Sweepers breathing heavily after that one. That was a great sweep. That was real close to the guard. That's woken everyone up if they weren't already.
Möglichst viel Querdistanz.
Im Sommerlager ist da links, also rechts aus gesehen von da, recht da gewesen.
Ja, aber im sind jetzt eher übergörlet.
Ja, aber auch nur dort, wo der Tisch war.
Ja.
Mit 69.
Ja, ist wahr.
But the Czechs, they can still see most of that yellow. First stone in this game for the Czech skip.
Stych.
And preferring to try to go for the double. Oh,
Mal drum. Oder gehen wir da
a brave call for his first stone in this evening session. And just missing the double by about a centimetre.
Ja, sicher nicht tiefer.
And Hösli does not want to give him another chance at that double. He won't miss it again, I don't think.
Mitti sollte jetzt schon.
Ja, habe ich auch das Gefühl, ja. Er muss einfach mal ins Haus.
Ja.
Egal was für eine Linie, er muss ins Haus.
So big opportunity again to put a second counter in here for the Swiss. Far away from the first.
Voll 4 Höhe. Stein höher ist okay. Sicher
Pretty
ins
much
Haus,
there.
egal was für eine Linie.
The Swiss looking for good separation on these yellows, so that no chance for Lukáš Klima to remove the pair of them with his last stone. First throw of the game for Philip Hösli. We shall do the team lineups in just a minute. But this good target practice. Always good to have T-weight in your pocket.
Tief, tief, dem Fall, tief, gerne noch wenig, tief. Bis da, bis da.
This looks
Bis
nice.
da. Weiter, 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 weiter.
But
Weiter.
actually bringing it all the way back
Gut.
to try to make the double a bit more difficult.
Gut so. Gut gesehen.
The double is there. He may as well have a try.
4:2.
Je to jedno
He
vlastně.
may as well go for it.
Co hrajeme?
Ja, gleich, wäre schon die Idee gewesen, aber...
A osmičkou nebo pílem?
Stejnou asi.
Ja, fast zu wenig Abstand.
Okay.
Ja,
Jakmile budeš mít kontakt, tak to
weniger Eis, aber eben, das ist genau das, wir haben gesagt, ich erwarte so ein bisschen mehr.
Je to docela stý.
Habe ich spürlich, ich habe nicht gewusst, ob es
Hrajeme
lang
stejnou váhu. Double.
oder ja,
Ja,
wirklich. Es ist eh nicht zu viel Eis.
zuerst machen, das ist immer fein.
Ja. Ich hätte gerne noch ein bisschen tiefer gehabt.
Last throw of the first end in our featured game. We are watching Team Klima from Czech Republic. They are playing Team Hösli, last year's winners from Switzerland.
Wow, wow, yep, wow, wow, wow. Norek! Norek!
Dünn fast.
Oh, very close.
Okay.
Gleich.
Super effort from Klima. Very close to making that across the house double. There was good separation though in those yellows. You can see how important it is to keep those two stones as far away as possible. You're more likely to get a mistake from your opposition. And if you want to score 2 instead of 1, so scoring 1 is kind of the default. You have one last stone to score 1 point. That's relatively straightforward at this level. And if you want to score more than 1, then you need a mistake from your opposition. So that's why you want to make the stone placement as difficult as possible for your opposition. Lukáš Klima was close there with his final stone, but good stone placement from the boys from Glarus.
Einfach sicher.
And this should be straightforward to put a nice clean 2 up on the board. Doesn't even need the backing.
Gut, boys.
Everybody agrees it's already 2 points before the stones are hardly stopped.
Sekunde kürzer. Okay.
So a couple of loose shots from both teams in that first end, but a little bit more consistent from the Swiss, and their reward is a big 2 in the first end, really using that last stone advantage, the hammer, to good effect.
Also eigentlich ohne, was man unerwartet. Sieht eh nicht
And they will lead this game after the first end 2-0.
Ich würde vorne 4-3 nach. Gut.
Takže i kraje už čekáme, že se...
Klima's team, they also played here last year. They finished in 10th place. Hösli's team will be keen to make that final again and defend their trophy, and I'm sure Lukáš Klima's team will have designs on going deep into this competition as well.
Ja, das ist noch 14 da.
Nebo můžeme 6krát
Auf
nebo
4,5 bist du dran.
a se nedá třeba 4.
So let's say hello to the teams.
Ja, immer fein.
Throwing, confusingly, yellow stones but wearing the red uniforms. It is Team Hösli from Glarus. And lead thrower there that we just saw delivering the stone, that's Justin Halser.
14-6.
Second and skip for this weekend, at least since yesterday,
Heads out.
is the man with the brush in the house, the familiar figure of Martin Rios. Third thrower for this weekend is Marco Hefti, and fourth thrower is Philip Hösli. Now I'm not sure why Marco Hösli isn't here. Maybe he has other commitments, maybe we shall see him tomorrow. I shall try to find out.
Vyberem
No way
obrovský.
zatím, no way.
Vyberem obrovský.
Jo, jo. A
And wearing the white uniforms and throwing red stones, that's Team Klima from Czech Republic.
Možná chcípne
Lead thrower throwing that red shot is Samuel Mokris.
9-10.
Second thrower Jan Kandra. Third thrower Marek Czernovsky. Fourth and skip is Lukáš Klima. And if that was supposed to be a guard, looks like Samuel Mokris had far too much dinner. That's got way too much oomph on it. And nowhere near protected by free guard zone.
Yep, yep,
Lovely stable delivery from Justin Halser.
yes! Doe dat! Ja! Ho! Wat?
And no trouble for him.
10-3.
Say no.
Gut so, Cisel. Great shot.
Switzerland, they'll be happy to keep stones in the house, keep the game in the house. Don't let the Czechs start putting stones out front.
Fijn.
Al liever dat ze een fruur in dem Kühlschrank in als
Dat was hem.
Dva.
So
ja,
about
maar
15
ja,
feet
zo
less,
een beetje
please.
meedraaien. Aber ich
Ja, die
kann
rollen
ich
gewoon
kann auch
Samuel Mokrisch.
überrüsten bitte.
Ja, budu rád za
Ga je nog een beetje
za
willen
Si
rücken?
myslím, že bude.
Oh, ich bin ja dran, ich lümmer.
And he manages that adjustment really nicely.
Fajn.
na to, jo. Netočí to tolik, abychom tohle byli schopni zajet.
Strych.
And of course, the Glarus boys very happy to keep playing towards the centre. They don't want to give the Czechs a chance to bring that corner guard into play.
Já to neviděl.
They want to
já
keep
to
the Czechs
neviděl.
busy
Dobře,
towards
já
the
to
centre.
zkusím prodloužit dráhu.
Less chance of the Czechs being able to put two straight back on the board.
To si ani nemyslím.
Heftig, fang mal dann. Fang ab.
Martin Rios throwing second stones and skipping the team today.
Četlo se to dobře, ale hold vidím hovno.
Very familiar figure
Springen naar wie?
in Swiss curling.
Also es geht, Höfti,
Halt,
komm.
Jungs. Dit
Komm,
is hard.
Höfti.
Halt. Kom, kom, kom. Nog
Nog
niet, kom.
iets.
Halt.
Sammel mal. Habe ich ein bisschen rausgegeben am Schluss.
Originally also from Glarus Club, Martin Rios.
Sorry.
All of the Glarus boys, I've played in Glarus a few times, and I tell you, if you come from Glarus Club, you cannot half throw a stone. Goodness me. They've got sparks coming out, some of the stones the Glarus boys can throw. And Rios is no exception to that.
Fajn. Za mě dobrý.
Yep, yep. Oh. Yep. Yep.
Yuri Kandra for Czech Republic. Does he have enough space to just get a little hit and roll in behind? He does. So just that little half shot from Rios there. That wasn't
Okay. 1-5. Just to viděl.
quite, it didn't quite have the weight that they wanted. So instead of just coming into the house, we just said that, didn't we? That this is the danger. The Glarus boys, they would rather keep the game in the house. They don't really want stones out front. They've got a little cushion of 2 points at this early stage. And they're quite happy if the game's all in the house, no stones to really hide behind. Harder to start building an end, and just that half shot from Rios's first throw, he'll look to make up for that now.
Je to hodně citlivý, no, na to, jaká v některých místech se to vezme.
Halt.
To už mají guard, podle mě.
Justin.
No, určitě.
And this weight looks better, but
Navíc
now
mají
the stone's
kontragard.
caught the curl a bit.
Nicht ganz so viel Kerl erwartet.
Ja.
Hmm.
Ich habe nicht so viel Kerl erwartet.
Ich auch nicht. Ich wollte noch weniger Eis geben.
An uncharacteristically
Er hat sie schön aktiv gespielt.
low percentage pair of stones there from Rios.
Gut gestellt, aber
He's also hugely experienced at mixed doubles, Martin.
Míříš tak na 15, je to fakt
He's
rychlá.
been world champion twice at mixed doubles. He's represented Switzerland twice
A bylo to samo vlastně jako
at Olympics for mixed doubles. He has an Olympic silver medal for mixed doubles. Very, very accomplished. So unusual to see him not on top of those more delicate stones, the T-weight, the come around. I'm sure he shall adjust that for the rest of the game. But meanwhile,
5-6. Malinkouším.
maybe another opportunity now for Yuri Kandra.
6, 5.
Buď hodí, Lukáši, malinkouším. Směr dobrý, jenom Mílka, jenom Mílka. Jenom Mílka. Ne, ne, ne.
Já bych mi nebyl radši.
And that's the perfect response.
No, dobrá váha.
That's really nice from Kandra. Two super throws from him.
Když tak tady bude s tím hrát za tím kornegardem.
Dritt.
Tvoje, ty jsi to jako hodil v
We
pohodě.
can see that red just thrown by Yuri Kandra. It doesn't outcount the yellow that's wholly in the 8-foot circle. It doesn't outcount that, but look how nicely behind the guard that red is. That's the important part. And Rios recognising immediately the danger
in die andere Richtung von oben. Hat nicht
of that red stone and asking Marco Hefti to go for the double. Justin House there on the sweep immediately there. And yeah, this one is really travelling. Boom. Neutralised immediately. Really nice throw from Marco Hefti. Really tidying up. But that corner guard's still out there. Or, yep, there's corner guard on the other side actually as well. We know this path better. That could be easier, but the Swiss know this path better as well.
Takže 6, 5.
T-line.
T-line is the call. Unlikely to be a blank at this stage, I don't think. The Czech team then may as well try to go all out to score 2. Looks like somebody is scoring something, and they'd rather not only score the kind of default of 1 with last stone. They don't really want to give last stone back to Team Hösli and only score 1 point. This one's looking pretty nice. That's a real nice throw from Marek Czernovski. Really nice stuff. So there is a gap for sure to just squirt that red out the side. That's what Rios is asking for, but maybe that yellow behind will catch it. But this is better from the Czech team in this second end. They're now asking the question of Switzerland. And as soon as the Swiss would make a bit of a mistake and not quite 100% shot, that could be the chance for the Czechs to get a second counter in. So this is better, giving themselves more of a chance.
Yes!
And Marco Hefti on the sweep again immediately.
Yep!
Martin Rios worrying about nothing. Sorry, that was Marco Hefti that's throwing. It was Philip Hösli on the sweep immediately, but yeah, 2 super throws from Marco Hefti. Really neutralising the danger. But don't be alarmed if you're a Czech fan. There are a whole bunch of yellows hanging around, but there is still plenty of space. And this is still the way to try to build an end. Plenty of opportunity to just hit and roll behind. Keep trying to bring that corner guard into play. Keep trying to hide a shot behind the guard. Tempt a mistake. Out to the Glarus boys. So don't be too alarmed if you're cheering for Team Klima this evening. There are a bunch of yellows lying around, but the situation pretty fine. And that's a nice throw again from Marek Czernovski. He and Marco Hefti already having a good battle at 3rd position. So that yellow is lying short, but look how nicely that red's now tucked in. And if you would come around all the way around the outside on the clockwise handle, that red is just squirting straight back onto the yellow by the look of the angles.
Viděl jsem teďka trochu celkově rovnic?
No jasně, ty jsi dal tak jako na střed kamene, možná i za střed kamene.
The defending champions, Team Hösli from last year, not having such an easy start this year. This is their 3rd game. They have not had their bye yet, and they won this morning at the 11 o'clock round. They won against young team Ribotta from Italy. That was a score of 9-2. That was a nice strong win, but if you were tuning in yesterday evening, they had a howler. I'm not quite sure what went wrong for them, but they had a bit of a disaster last night, and our team from Korea, we're delighted to have a visiting team all the way from Asia Pacific region, and the team from Korea They romped home 12 points to 2. So 1-1 lost one so far, the defending champions. They will be looking to keep their winning ways they found this morning. First throw in the second end for current fourth thrower, Philip Hösli.
Sven en Justin, hè? Linie ist gut. Oh, sieht lang aus nach mir.
Team Hösli looking for a second yellow counter in here. And Philip Hösli, he had really good T-weight in the first end, but maybe we're going downhill now because that's going to run on. And that's exactly the mistake that the Czechs were hoping for. And you can see how dangerous that is. Philip running a puzzled hand through his hair. That stone just ran on and on. And a huge opportunity now for the Czechs to put a 2 straight back on the board. Over on the left of your screen, on the other sheet, it is young team Ribotta from Italy. And they are playing team Stych from Poland. First time we've welcomed a Polish team to our cozy competition here in Adelboden. Poland, really an up-and-coming country. Quite new on the scene still, just since about 10 years or so. Pretty new on the scene, but getting more and more difficult to beat, the Polish teams. First throw in the second end for Klima. Huge chance for the Czechs to set up a second point here. And gosh, this curl is catching them again though, isn't it? They wanted to roll entirely the other way. Oh, I think he's got away with it. Wowzers. He's managed to find really quite a nice spot, considering that stone was really curling out of hand. And you need to get used to this. This is modern ice. Championship ice, typically very fast and very curly.
Falls het lang ist, dann einfach mal sicher der tappen, dass es schlechter ist.
Important throw here for Philip Hösli. Nothing really much to hit. He's having to outdraw those 2 Czech counters. And if he doesn't get this really perfect, could be a chance even for 3 for the Czechs. So yeah, Achtung, let's not lose this one. Don't let it curl away from you. Oh, he doesn't want to bounce off that first red. Ooh, that was a nervy shot if you're a Glarus fan. I think definitely still a shot to make 2. Indeed, yeah, if you just, again, play roughly similar shot that you've just seen from Philip Hösli. Definitely you can punch that yellow back. And then the question is, which shot is lying after that? So just seeing Marco Hefti having a little look as well. Looks like it's the yellow just inside the 8 foot. I think that's lying shot just now, the shot just thrown by Philip Hösli. Then it's the red in front of tee And they're not sure, so I wonder if this is even a shot for 3 points. A little bit out of nothing.
Ich habe noch gedacht, wenn jetzt noch ein halber Stein weniger spatzig ist. Ja.
Ja, ich habe einfach Respekt zum
3 kassieren.
ja. Und so ein bisschen, ich sage jetzt auf die Nase tappen und hier geht noch besser, aber alles.
Zatím místo! Zatím místo! Čistí!
Marek Janowski
Radek!
wants to try to let the stone curl.
Radek!
Don't lose it, boys. Don't let it curl off too far.
Pojď!
He's got plenty of space.
Dobrý.
Has he caught the right angle? Oh, it's a valiant effort. Definitely 2. And really well done from Czechs there. They had to work very hard to even give themselves a chance at that 2, and a difficult shot to finish it off. Not a nice, easy draw to the house like it was for Philip Hösli, so they'll be delighted with bouncing straight back with a big 2 there, the Czech team.
Sorry, boys.
Here Rios there just saying, sorry boys. Yeah. A couple of loose shots from him, but that's a big 2 back on the board for the Czech team. And after 2 ends, the score here in Adelboden at a World Curling Tour event is 2 each.
Bites in the line, bites in the line. Fine. Okay.
If you're just joining us, we are in the 3rd end of our featured game. We are in the 3rd edition of the World Curling Tour event here at Adelboden. And if you saw the little advert in between, I tell you, it's not photoshopped at all. That is exactly what Adelboden looks like. If you want to experience a very typical, very traditional alpine town, come to Adelboden. And you can have bonus curling thrown in as well. Intriguing game we have this evening. It is last year's champions. That's Team Hösli from Glarus Club in Switzerland. And a nice throw, nice start there from Justin Hauser. And they are up against Team Klima from Czech Republic. And Team Klima, they've been really knocking on the door of the big stuff for a couple of years now. They're not far away from starting to make knockout rounds and semi-finals. That might not have been the call for Samuel Mokrish, but that's found a decent spot, you know.
Sla je zo. Aber so, oder?
Ja, wo ich sehe, so ein halber Stein tappen trägt, sehe ich noch. Also
Sehr gut, ja.
Geld vorne, freezing.
If you want to say hello in the chat, you are most welcome to join. Everyone's welcome here in our virtual club.
Gib eine Spur weniger, hä?
Nein, sicher nicht mehr spielen.
If you have a question or you want to tell us who you're cheering for. So we have superfan Megan in the chat. And Matilda in Sweden. Yeah, Matilda must be approaching superfan status, I think. And Matilda asks,
Vorne 4, die.
how is it decided
Drum.
which colour
Drum.
of stone
Drum.
the teams play?
Hinacht,
Ziehen!
hinacht.
And Matilda, that is pretty much the same as at the club. So whoever does not have last stone, so whoever did not win, so to say, or whoever's
Bitte.
draw shot challenge,
Keine Chance,
the
von
last stone
vorne
draw,
drauf, sorry.
Nein, nie.
whoever doesn't have the better one, so whoever doesn't have last stone, they can choose which stones to start the end, to start the game. So basically the same like you do at the club. If you win the toss, we don't tend to do a last stone draw at the club, but if you win the toss, you typically choose to have last stone advantage in that first end, and your opposition gets to play the colour they choose, and that's how it happens here as well. We welcome all questions here in the club. If you joined us a couple of weeks ago when we were in Baden, we had supporters from all over, from Asia Pacific, from Europe, from the Americas region. We really had supporters from everywhere, and we had some real nice questions and fun facts.
Horší strana ne, asi.
Zähne halber Treffen.
Ale nevím.
Myslíš, že ne?
Jako oni byli 3-8, moc ho nemetli.
Heck einfach the roll.
Lukáš tady byl 3-7, vlastně kratší než oni 3-8 z té druhé strany.
Hecka!
Jo, Erik jel víc ze široka než cokoliv. To možná mohlo mít vliv.
Naturheck. Nein, Heck müsste man dort anstoßen.
Nebyl metry na krev celou dobu. To asi není zas tak mimo.
Asi ne.
Asi nepohodě. A jestli to nebylo horší, tak teďka se takhle rozmetli.
Možná spíš tím na kluka nebyla jako nic moc. No.
Lean. Yep. Yep. Whoa.
As we see
Whoa.
quite often these days,
Whoa.
play directed towards the centre.
Hard.
Not so easy to get your corner guards into play these days, especially not now that we're in 5 rock free guard zone territory.
Komm, Chisel!
Sehr schön. Perfekto.
Nice careful throw from Rios there.
Sorry, gell, ich muss einfach wegen der Länge noch mit schnell fragen. Wegen Heck gibt es das Naturheck.
Moving that red
Das ist perfekt.
far away from the centre line, but space for the Czechs to try the same thing again. So Jiri Kandra just being asked to replace that red.
Hat 12-6 auf dem.
It's the Swiss who have last zone advantage now
Místo!
in this third end.
Místo! Čekej!
8. 8. Prízujem zadní, když tak.
Jedem kolem zatím, nemám směr. Lukáš! Jo! Pojď Lukáši, pojď! OK. Jsem dřív nemohl. Ty jsem dřív nemohl.
Gleich schnell.
Same shot again is possible.
Yep. Gleich Tempo.
Copy paste, says Philip Hösli. Same kind of line, same speed of stone, same weight. But this time they would really like to get that roll towards the centre,
Ja, musst!
Yep.
block off that path for the Czechs.
Hard.
Slajdy maličko, no.
Keine Chance.
Heftig nach der Guard. Heftig ab. Bringen. Okay. Okay, so.
Pročistíš to, Kripo, prosím.
The Carroll catching them out a little bit again there.
Der Stein, der mitzieht.
But that yellow's found a useful spot. You can see the angles are now
Schon rauf.
quite nice looking for yellow onto red, and Lukáš Klima
Ich habe nicht das Gefühl,
recognising that as well.
Ale šel bych sem.
He's only 31, Lukáš Klima, but I feel like he's been around for about 20 years already.
3.
das ist eigentlich mein Eindruck. Das Gefühl, der hat nie eine Chance gehabt.
They had a good season, Klima's team. They were in the Olympic qualifying event, which was held in Netherlands. That was in December 2021.
Dobrá ruka.
And up for grabs were 3 final places
Jedem tady.
at the Olympics in Beijing.
Ruka. Spíš
The
Lukáš.
Czech team, they
Není to tak
qualified
zlý, díra na kámen tam nebudem.
for the playoffs for that
Pojď
event.
Lukáši, pojď
And
Lukáši.
they just didn't
Potřebuji
quite
dílku, pojď,
qualify.
pojď.
There were 4
Potřebuji dílku,
teams
potřebuji ještě dílku.
at the top of the table after the round robin at the Olympic qualifier. That was Norway, who went through directly, top of the table. Stefan Wallstad's team. That was Italy, Joe Retornaz's team, Lukas Klima's team, and the young Danish team of Mikael Kraus from Denmark. And it was Norway, Italy and Denmark that finally qualified. And that's actually the second time that's happened to the Czech team. They were ever so close the previous Olympics. As I said, really been knocking on the door of being up with the big teams for a while now, this Czech team. Another huge throw from Marco Hefti. I hope he had plenty to eat for dinner. Needing a lot of strength. Not quite the angle they were expecting, but Rio's happy enough with that one.
Možná, já se připravám velký.
Dílka.
Těžko říct. Možná ne.
Místo. Jenom dílka.
The Swiss boys, though, not quite managing to build anything yet. They're more doing a little bit clearing a space. And that giving the Czechs a good chance to keep the pressure on the Swiss. Don't let the Swiss settle and start building stones. And that a really nice shot again from Marek Czernoski. He and Marco Hefti having a good battle at third.
Výsledek toho jejich
deblokují vlastně úplně šťastný. Finde es wäre schon cool, wenn der schlechter wäre als die beiden. Sonst, wenn wir angehen.
I think they're wondering if hack weight, so that the call is hack weight, and I think they're just wondering, is that going to be heavy enough? We've seen several stones already early in this game really catch a curl, and I think Marco Hefti just making sure that we've got enough ice. We know this stone's going to catch a big curl.
Clean, yeah. Whoa. Whoa. Clean.
Clean's always a nice sound if you're the sweepers.
Vol door det. Vol door det. Vol door det, kom!
And I think they've judged this perfectly. Nice stuff from Marco Hefti. Starting to look a little bit dangerous for the Czechs. All those yellows are behind T, but there's quite a lot of them.
Tak v tom případě bych chtěl klidně to samý, ne? Jo? A rychlost byla jaká, ta moje?
Yeah, I think that's maybe try to move something. I think you can do both things with this stone. I think there's definitely a double take out there. You could remove 2 of the yellow counters and spin yourself towards the centre. That would be a perfect shot from Lukas Klima.
Aber ich bin ehrlich, ich bin nicht genug mortig. Ich habe früher gedacht, soll ich jetzt, aber ich habe gestern...
Tak bychom vám potřebovali nechat 6. Ale spíš nebude to přetáčet, ale tohle jsou nejlepší. Je to rychlý jako ráno prostě na začátku?
A bunch of yellows then behind T. The Czechs getting sufficiently nervous of leaving them all lying around.
Fine.
Oh my goodness, he's not going for a hit at all. My mistake. Wowzers, well.
Ne, vůbec nic, vůbec nic.
Brave call from the Czechs. That had to be good if that was not really perfect.
Když máš
They could have
dlouhej,
been
tak tomu
facing a
věř,
hat full of yellows.
jo, že čistý buď daleko od kamene nebo vůbec.
Ich glaube, der ist Geschichte.
Ja, das ist.
Protože jsme si všichni vlastně říkali, to je strašně dlouhý. A furt si byl hodně u něj.
So etwas.
Langsam.
No, ano, třeba.
Nicht 10.
Já vím, ale my jsme potřebovali být vlastně
Dass
chvíli.
wir den da rausbringen.
Výsledek zas tak hrozný není, on nakonec zatočil docela OK.
Der geht schon schnell, also wenn du wirklich schnell drin spielst, geht er schnell da drin, oder?
To nedopadlo zvlášť.
Hast du das Gefühl, den bringen wir
Ja,
oben
das ist
raus?
ja
Ich habe nicht das Gefühl, ich habe das Gefühl, der hängt da.
Kluci řekli,
Genau,
že
das ist Almen an.
čistě zašlo.
Ich frage mich, könnte man viel verlieren gegenüber
Strašně tak si
da.
3-6.
That's now given the Glarus boys something to think about. How do you move that red at all? And how do you move that red
Ale když se na to přesně koukalo.
and try to make the most of all those yellows hanging around? That's why it wasn't a disaster
Sag du, was
that there were a bunch of
Für mich
yellows
ist das
because they
eine
were all
Option
behind
mit
T.
etwa einem 10, dass der Geschichte ist und der weg. Und er spielt den Freeze. Oder der
So if you just land up
We do it.
that red zone right in front of everything else, then you will be shot. That's the danger of being behind T.
Ja.
No, podle mě teoreticky můžou vyhnat všechny naše, ale
A jakože pojď nad ním?
Well, looks like
levo,
big
levo,
weight
levo,
coming
levo,
from Philip Hösli.
no, čtvrtinu.
Maybe even a triple takeout, sacrifice his own yellow to bring the 3 wider yellows into play.
mit drüber können, kann er einfach drauf reisen.
Kdyby ho trefil málo, tak bude tak pojede do něj.
So big throw from Philip Hösli, big shove at the end.
Justin.
Justin, ja.
Ooh, and
Second.
that's exactly not quite right.
Nemůžu hrát tohle.
Což by
From
byl
having
bonus podle
tons of
mě
yellows lying around,
Ganz gut.
Protože já když zahraju tohle,
I think they're about to
a
be
hodím ho sem, tak mu dávám double.
facing quite a tricky shot with their last stone here, the Höslis.
buď, anebo naopak odrolovat co nejvíc sem někam.
That's the shot I thought they were going for last time, was to use that yellow
Jo, mně se jako i tohohle se
that
trošku bojím.
Lukáš Klima is just indicating there.
Ale za mě double,
Sort of a round the clock shot.
Už to poumíme. Ale to mi přijde, nepřijde o nic lepší než ten hate.
ale
I
za
don't
mě
see a
hit
reason
doublem
not to do
super.
that. Then I think you're pretty much guaranteeing
Prostě.
No.
you're only
Kdyby
losing
šel
1
trochu
point.
sem,
A kdyby náhodou to prostě točilo divně, tak hold budeš zkoušet hlídat tohle.
jo. Budeš dost vysoko na to, aby oni ho měli šanci potom
9?
nějak.
Aber ich glaube,
Jak
wenn du
chceš,
normal
můžeme mít
gespielt
10.
hast,
Já vím, ale...
normal
Dobře,
eingesetzt hast,
9.
ja, glaube ich, wäre der nicht mal so daneben gewesen. Ja, vielleicht macht man etwas Gescheites für uns.
You need to be careful if you're throwing a big weight and you're using your arm
Pokud bych ho neskoval perfektně.
to give it a bit of a push at the end there. You need to really practice that. It's pretty difficult to get it accurate.
První a třetí. Z toho bychom hráli draw, to by nebylo o čem. 9?
It's easier if you can to get all your power from a leg drive.
No, tak to je pohodě.
3/4.
Moje Bčko, že se když tak skolíme o tam tady.
Brad in the chat, thank you for correcting me.
3/4 mit 9.
I did indeed have the wrong team line up for Klima. I am correcting that immediately. That's not the kind of hospitality we're supposed to be offering here in Adelboden.
Pojď! Pojď!
Nic. No.
Nice stuff from Klima.
Ich glaube, 7 geht nie noch.
OK.
Is there a triple take out there?
Že?
So jetzt spielen aus.
Tohle není
Oder-
zlý.
A hele, to je asi dobrý.
To je dobrý.
Gut. Das ist. Findest du zu wenig?
Intern ist auch gut.
Nein, sorry, jetzt habe ich nicht überlegt. Nur weil der Meister endlich 2
Já jsem
rausgespielt.
Finde ich
nebyl
intern
moc
gut.
pozitivní,
Aber ich
já
hätte ein
jsem
bisschen mehr
prostě
eingegeben
říkal,
als du
To
hast.
musí být celý, no.
chyba jsem.
Also mir
prostě
ist auch
vždycky
nicht gut,
pohodě.
sorry. Ich
Intern
bin
ist
nur
gut.
das falsche Ort.
A
So,
Ja, so gefällt mir.
nechávám mu double na 3. Zatímco jakákoliv chyba
I think this was then having no choice. They had all those yellows hanging around, but as we can see, because they were all behind T, that really nice, careful first throw from Lukáš Klima, it really neutralised everything.
Sollte immer noch schnell sein, aber nicht diese.
Then Philip Hösli throwing a big weight to try to move the reds around a bit, only succeeded in moving yellows around. So I think the Swiss will be a little bit disappointed with this end. And this end not over yet. Philip Hösli with his last stone still to come. This stone needs to be there. This cannot be short.
15-3. Einfach durchschrauben.
15.3 pulls Martin Rios. And a nice strong sweep from the boys there. Helping that yellow to just use a little bit of that backing. Really nice shot under pressure there from Philip Hösli. And that's 1 point on the board to the Swiss. So that gives our score after 3 ends. It is Team Philip Hösli from Switzerland 3 and Team Lukáš Klima from Czech Republic 2. We are about to start the 4th end of our featured game here at the World Curling Tour event in Adelboden. It is the 3rd edition here in Adelboden, and we continue to welcome teams not only from Switzerland but from all over the world. Team Klima, strong supporters of this competition since the beginning. Same for Team Hösli, and Team Hösli, of course, last year's champions, defending. It's a really lovely trophy as well. It was an older trophy, repurposed for this competition. Very beautiful trophy. They will be very keen to get their hands on it again, the Team Hösli. With Philip Hösli's final stone there in the 3rd end, you may have heard Martin Rios calling out 15.3. That's probably the hog-to-hog time. That tells us how fast the ice is running. 15.3 for, it was what, just ahead of T-line. That's pretty fast.
Hat sie verdreht ein bisschen, oder?
Ja, ja.
Fajn. 2 plus, 3.
Jenom 2 plus.
3 plus.
Chceme ho vysoko.
Musíme doufat zatím.
Já to vidím. Ale guard by to měl být snad.
Jo, nohy plus podle mě.
No, to je podobný jak minule.
Finally,
Okay.
the Swiss gave up last stone advantage. It is the Czechs who have last stone advantage in this 4th end. Only scoring 1 point with last stone there, the Swiss. So we see them playing the aggressive stuff then in this 4th end. At least they want to try to really force the issue. They want to keep stones in play, keep stones out front. They wouldn't mind stealing a point here, but what they want to do is try to force the Czechs to score at least 1, or rather force the Czechs to score only 1. That's nice work from Justin Halsell. As I keep saying, if you throw lead at your club, if you maybe haven't played for so long, and it certainly can be nice to begin your career playing at lead, but never think that it doesn't really matter too much if you're on form. Because look at those 2 stones from Justin Halsell, setting up the end just perfectly for his teammates, and making the next 6 stones much easier, strategically as well as throwing. So if you play lead at the club, you take it seriously. Look at the effect you can have. There's already a half shot from the Czechs there because of that nice setup play from Halsell.
Aber so,
Ale
Bord.
já jsem měl 14 půl, takže já to mám
Ich hätte
změřený
so
jako
gespielt,
podobný
aber-
stranem.
Ich nehme jetzt 4, ist gut.
Ja.
Weißt du, vielleicht kann man mit diesem noch etwas fischen nachher. Bord, hä?
Guest skip yesterday and today.
Váhově dobrý.
Martin Rios,
Yep. Whoa, whoa.
Yep.
who's also only in his 30s, but has also been around forever.
Whoa!
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Whoa, whoa,
whoa. Roll, roll.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Right.
That is Sershun. Really nice throw from
Right
Rios.
now.
And yeah, that's going to force the Czechs to now move the guards. That's exactly what you want to see. If you don't have last stone, it's always very satisfying if your opposition
Tvůj píl.
is kind of obliged to start moving guards around. We have played 5 stones, so free guard zone is over. And Lukas Klima deciding, okay, there are 2 shots behind cover here. He doesn't want to get into a mess.
Oh, 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 Marek, 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 Marek.
Oh, wow.
Máro, a to je dobrý. Super, Radku, hezky.
Gets everything moving.
Mě spíš snažil
That's
nesprasit, aby nebyl
Radek
pod ním.
Bohač. My apologies for
Proto jsem bych ho jako zkoušel.
getting the line-up wrong.
Tohle je dobrý.
Gut, ja.
Far.
Aber Bord.
Bord ist 3, ja.
Fine shot from Radek Bohac there. Moves everything off the centre line and leaves himself with 2 corner guards.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Gold star for him.
Chisel.
In.
Nein, clean.
Justin. Whoa. Justin, up. Halt. Whoa. See. See.
Oh, and there's a mixed double stone from double world champion Martin Rios and double Olympic representative and Olympic silver medalist. That is such a mixed double shot there.
Na střed.
That's the tick on the corner guard. You see that during mixed doubles during a power play.
Gut, das Speed, hä?
Of course, in mixed doubles, the
Ein bisschen
stones set
Ist
up
gut,
for the end. The 2 stones already placed as you begin the end.
Celkem
das
mnou,
Line ohne.
aby tady vadil.
And that's such a popular shot in mixed doubles curling. You just want to chip that corner guard at that gentle, gentle weight, roll in yourself,
Tak pojď 11.
and what a result.
11.
Not allowing the Czechs to start building an end. The Czechs with the last stone here in the 4th.
Das nehmen wir nie mit dem Mann.
5. Oh, 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 oh. Lukáš.
Jo, má
We
pravdu.
also have Michaela,
Musíš hodně.
Potřebujeme, aby zůstal na kroku.
our other super fan in the chat. Welcome, Michaela. We always like to see you.
Bylo to dobrý, ale hrozně jsme dal rukou
Aber
zpátky.
das
Right,
ist schon
sure.
ein Karl, oder?
Váha
What was the
dobrá, rukou
ideal
jsme dal
result
zpátky.
from that stone there?
Sa!
Proč hnedka volal, jo? Protože jel dobře tělem na
Azo.
koště, pak mu nakouřil velikou ruku zpátky centralině a začal
I don't
křičet,
think
jo.
that red's going to be around much longer though.
Já, jako tenhle už určitě je vidět celý plus. Já z něj potřebuji hrát roll.
Okay.
Yep, yep,
Seine Haut.
whoa! Yep,
Seine Haut.
whoa!
Again, that constant communication
Whoa!
from the team.
Whoa! Feet!
Justin Hauser keeping an eye on the stone. Philip Hösli indicating the weight of the stone. Ooh, and I think that's the first stone he hasn't nailed perfectly.
Celý plus, ne?
Marco Hefti this game.
Tak pojď takhle.
Sorry.
Fajn.
Těch 11.
Okay.
The Czechs need to use this then.
Okay.
They want to push that yellow through, and just as important, if not more important, is where the red shooter is going to end up.
Ja.
Jaký široký.
Yeah, again, I don't want to see too much weight coming at this. Give your sweeper something to do. Let them control the direction.
Ready.
Yeah, this looks like a
Ready,
nice
ready,
way.
ready.
Yeah.
Bump that yellow through.
Promiň, to
Doesn't curl as much as they thought. But that may be bringing the blank end back into play.
11.
Sorry, klasické intervence, jo.
Het is goed.
Clean.
Neem nog één snel.
Clean.
More routine shot for Marco Hefti here.
Fie nog bit.
No trouble there.
6.
Ja, no, rood en kastje.
Goed gespeeld, Höfli.
Yeah, two options for the Czechs. Of course, they want to remove the yellow. One option,
6. Goed gespeeld.
Lukasz Klima indicating they want to roll to the right of our screen. Park the red just in front of that yellow. Maybe could catch a red stone on the way past. The other option would be to hit and roll all the way over to the left. But the longer the roll, the harder it is to get it right.
Yep.
So this makes sense.
Luka.
Ga daar 3/4 hoes voor de force.
Klima thinking a little bit easier to hit and roll
Yep.
towards the wing. But not really getting a roll at all. And currently this fourth end of our featured game in Adelboden,
Finase goed.
this has blank end written all over it at the moment.
11.
Again, just that careful weight, an 11-second stone Rios is calling for. We don't need a huge weight here. Important that this yellow also hangs around.
Wow, weg.
Maybe not as flashy to throw. The gentler weight is not as flashy as a hard as you can, spraying everything out of the house. But that's how you control a stone.
11-2.
And the stone placement's so important now. One more chance then for the Czech Republic to set a trap for defending champions Team Hösli. If you joined us last year, viewers, you might remember that Marco Hösli, he wasn't playing in this team last year either. Philip Hösli, Marco Hefti and Justin Hauser, they are defending champions. But for, let's say, administrative reasons, do you remember who the skip was last year? It was the most popular man in curling. It was Yves Stocker.
Yep.
The guest skip thing not going quite so well this year. Although I think the Swiss may be just on top of this game at the moment for me. And that's pretty much what they were aiming for. They want to roll as close to that yellow as possible. Try and make it as hard as possible for Philip Hösli.
Okay, ist gut.
Also ist einfach, da ist jetzt recht gerade gelaufen. Da außen ist vielleicht ein bisschen frisch.
Finde ihn gut.
We have one more session
She's okay.
after this one this evening. And that's the other group. They are coming on at 9 o'clock this evening, European time.
Clean, yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Let's see, has the trap worked? It has not.
Ja, dat heb je echt liever berühren, gell? Ja, ist ja gut.
Need to make it a bit tougher for Philip Hösli.
Tell you in a minute. Nein,
They know how to win now, this team, Team Hösli. And you can see the idea there. They were trying to tempt Philip Hösli to just punch that red straight back onto the yellow. Then the red would still be hanging around. Chance for 2 points. Philip Hösli not springing the trap. And I fancy we shall then see the Czechs just blanking this in. So a big weight instead coming from Klima. to make sure both stones go far away.
Co se stalo?
Also.
A blank end it is.
Aber last 3.
And that means at the halfway, we play 8 ends here in Adelboden, and at the halfway of our featured game of Team Hösli from Switzerland versus Team Klima from Czech Republic, it is still Team Hösli leading 3 points to 2.
Ich habe das Gefühl, sie werden hinlegen.
Ja, mal schauen. Du spielst auch Korn.
Vielleicht, ja.
Nein, das spiel ich nicht.
Was spielt er?
Pohodě, my jsme brali celou dobu, takže to jako nebylo tak divoký, ale...
Das spiel nur ich.
Mal vielleicht schon. Er hat auch schon Open gespielt, den Match.
Und dann würde er nicht.
My ztratili
Nej.
Seniendy, což je napad.
Tak ne.
Teďka vlastně jsme jako pozadu. Ten blank by byl dobrý, ten blank byl dobrý. Samozřejmě, když budeš šance na 2, tak si pro ní půjdeme, no, když to znamená o výhodu než oni. Pořád je první půlka zápasu víceméně.
Martin Rios, guest skip in Team Hösli, putting up the blank end from that 4th end. I shall investigate if Marco Hösli, so we have 2 Höslis and 2 Marcos in the team normally,
Immer viel, geiler Phil.
but Marco Hösli wasn't playing yesterday or today, and stalwart of Glarus Curling Club, Martin Rios being guest skip meanwhile. I shall try to find out if Marco Hösli will be back this weekend.
Asi vyšel pod ně tím pádem. Šel bych
And
sem.
again, nice throw from Justin
Yes.
Hauser. He's really
Just.
setting up the ends beautifully at the moment for the Swiss.
Gut so. Verlängern.
Čtyři, pět. Umělky. Je to vaše. Je to vaše, snědouky.
We have plenty more curling to come here from Adelboden. We have 4 draws in the round robin
Jenom pět.
tomorrow,
Jenom pět.
and tomorrow evening we shall have
Ráňa nemůže
the
smedlový.
quarterfinals.
Super.
Fajn, tohle je dobrý.
Nice throw from Lukáš Klima.
4-7, Máro.
Halb 8 ist schon
A to
super.
uměj, takže ty bys za měl 4-9.
Gib endlich eins, hä?
Let me give the team lineup for Czech Republic again, since I got it wrong at the beginning. My apologies, Czech fans. So throwing just now at lead is Lukáš Klima. Second thrower for Czechs today and this weekend is Radek Bohač.
4-7 prej.
Third is Marek Černovský. Fourth and skip is
Länge
Lukáš
ist grad
Klima.
gut.
Wow. Linie wird besser.
Länge super.
Linie wird besser.
Mach die Brat.
Wenn dann Hüfte. Wow, wow.
14,80.
18,
Brat freeze.
14, 8.
Gut. Gut so.
No bounce! No
Schön.
bounce, Gisel. Gut.
Gut so.
Justin Hauser
Ja.
slightly disappointed
Hey.
there.
Pět,
But
4-5.
Das ist gut geslidet.
he didn't get a perfect freeze and moved that red stone about a half a centimetre.
Der Händler ist sicher mit Verlängerung ein bisschen mehr Kraft gewesen. Gut so, ja.
Muss ich wieder so irgendetwas umrühren.
ne?
Místa víc, jestli může čekat. Jenom Jirka.
It is still the Czechs who have last stone in this 5th end. They had last stone in the 4th end. Couldn't quite build an end.
Ne, tady klidně. Fakt
Ended
mám
up
místo.
blanking.
Klebe.
Tohle už je lepší, ne?
Dáme 2.
Byl lepší dát. Pojď. Já to musím ukřičet, že je hodně místa.
All stones in play so far in this 5th end, but
Jo,
doesn't
hodně.
always
A
preclude a
já to
blank.
nepřeřval.
Einfach der Roll, oder?
They can
andere ist
move a
mal
lot
die
of stones when
Doppelmacher.
they're trying these big boys.
Was du gut findest.
Fällt der Roll. Welcher Stein ist das?
Das 3 jetzt.
Das ist der, der mehr macht.
Findest
Dann
du,
ist
soll
Bolt.
dieser nicht?
Das fällt er gut. Bolt mit dem Eis.
I've played at Glarus Club myself a few times.
Schau, einer
Very nice,
mag's
cosy
nicht.
club. Food is excellent.
Schau, einer mag es nicht.
Hey,
And gosh, some of these
Massa ist auch nicht übel.
boys
aber-
from Glarus Club, it's like playing in the 1980s.
Ja, eben. Also gut, ja.
They come screaming out the hack, and people are chasing stones all over the ice rink when it connects.
Clean. Achtung,
If you
Justin.
want to join us here
Yep,
at Adelboden Club,
Oh,
you can.
clean.
We were
Justin.
not
Yep.
allowed to welcome guests to
Out.
the club the past couple of
Aye.
years. But this year, you
Gut
can.
so. Tipptopp.
The risk of COVID is sufficiently
Ja,
low
spiel.
Gesagt, ich habe es nicht verstanden.
that we are back to normal.
Ideální.
I very much recommend Adelboden. We always have a real fun time here.
Da hinten.
Ale i dobrý freeze, OK?
Wirklich drüber gehen.
Potřebujeme čistou komoru nebo lekce zevnitř?
Ich muss immer dran denken.
Michaela also appreciating the food at the curling club. And that's always a plus when you have these big boys. If you offer nice food, well, that can certainly attract teams.
Siehst du, es ist sogar mit einem Stein, der mehr macht. 5 Grad.
You know how much boys eat.
Tak čekej, na to nemám směr. Ne.
But they won't be thinking about their dinner just yet.
Jo. Lukáš.
Both these teams out here, they have some work to do before
Vidím, že brzdím.
they can have supper.
Vidím, že brzdí hodně, pojď. Pokračuj, potřebuji ten úhel, pokračuj.
Dobrý výsledek.
OK. Na něco najel.
These angles looking quite nice
Výsledek,
for
jak jsme chtěli, ale na
Czech
něco
Republic.
Okay.
Zijn er sonst etwas
Jo,
Gutes?
tak to mě ne třeba.
The Swiss at a bit of a decision point here.
Mit
Dobře,
dem
bylo to
da
hezký slide.
bleibt der da meistens.
Hezký slide. Pěkně se na
Wow,
to koukal
Hilein.
a docela svižnej.
We always love to see the aggressive call, and that's exactly what Philip Hösli is going for. He's going to go around the back of everything, asking Rios to
Wahrscheinlich,
play just about T-line.
ja. 14-2, ihr könnt ja ein bisschen wischen, oder?
And actually, even if the stone is maybe a little bit shorter, as long as it's on a nice line, he will probably set up again a nice angle.
Justin jetzt. Justin. Ja, bring ihn weit, bring ihn nachher.
I
Komm.
haven't really used
nach, wie es
this
geht.
path though. You can see
Linie auch
nach,
noch
wie
ein
es
bisschen
geht.
zu.
Justin
Mach Linie noch ein bisschen zu, komm.
really sweeping hard
Halt.
there.
Gut
Okay,
gewischt,
so.
Boys.
Probably still a little bit stickier
6-7.
Ah, ist aber
out there
vergessen.
towards the wings. We've been playing a lot of stones towards the centre, and
Schon
that
auch
wide
nicht klar,
ice
wenn man da so-
that Philip Hösli was taking there, I think probably quite a fresh path. But as we can see, that yellow is still dangerous.
Asi takhle.
Fast Phillies, ne?
Ja, am Schluss sicher. Schwierig zu sagen,
Also,
was es
klar, natürlich, ja.
Not at all a bad spot for a plan B there.
Ten zakryje tak jako nic moc, když budeme hrát tohle. Asi zatím budeme hrát tohle. Potřebujeme navalit relativně na plocho nad něj. Oni jsou skoro na úrovni.
Lucas
Potřebovali to
Klima
ideálně hrát 9.
immediately recognising that yellow could be punched back onto the red. Confirming to Rios that that was a pretty nice shot.
Ich hoffe, wir können noch ein bisschen etwas verstecken. Und Hure auf der Stein jetzt auch. Also mach.
Osm. To ne, 8 je špatně. Lukáši, buď ready, ale i tak. Jo. Jo.
An intriguing end building up here. Oh, that's some nice stuff.
Z toho se budeme dostávat celý end. OK.
Byl 8.
Good throw from second thrower Adelboden.
Tak dáme, než nepůjde ven.
Those reds starting to look a bit
Měla byl koukat tak třetina, ne?
ominous.
Ale
That little
Zaprvé
yellow
nebudou gardovat.
that Rios
Oh,
is just
jasně, ale-
indicating.
je třeba přetočil jednou.
That yellow looking a little bit vulnerable. It's at the back of that pile.
Nein, der geht
Looks
oben
like it
durch.
wouldn't take
Aber
much
wenn
to
wir
just
drauf schiessen,
squirt
dann
that
kommt
yellow
nicht
out the
mehr.
back, would it?
Der einzige andere, den ich sehe, ist vorne drüber schiessen, aber
Co?
das ist hure präzise.
Ist einfach, wenn man das Geld mitnimmt, dann
Potřebovala
Ten guard, okay.
celkově menší odtuky.
selbst wenn er da
Takže
ist.
9. by ten žlutý kamen míň
Ich würde lieber kurz.
Ja, ich auch, ja. 2!
The guard is the call.
So etwas,
Mir
hä?
gefällt da sicher genug Eis geben.
I don't want to see this as a bold call from the Swiss, because certainly a centre guard out front is helpful to them. But, of course, if the Czechs can ever find a way in behind the guard coming up, the Swiss could be in all kinds of trouble. Again, high risk, high reward. The more aggressive stone always comes at higher risk, but if this works, I'm not sure what Klima's doing there. I'm not sure if he's asking his team to come chat, or maybe he's trying to take off.
Ja, ist gut, ist gut. Girl, noch mehr.
Really carefully placed from Marco Heftig. We've seen every shot in that man's arsenal today, haven't we? We've seen everything from huge double take out to a really precise guard now.
Tím, jak jsem dělal celou dobu takhle?
No, se třeba nechladíš nebo něco.
Ne, to proč bych se chladil, já
nevím.
Já nevím, co s tím.
Lass mich einfach sollen passen haben, dann wäre der gut.
Já si
Der
myslím,
ist
že
da
ten
jetzt
kamen
frisch
vidím.
reingekommen.
Třeba 5.
Ale já bych to jako nehrál pílem
Was
osobně.
ist er?
Protože když to hraješ klidným kamenem a tenhle si lízneš, tak ho nasuneš sem a je to v pohodě.
Ja, aber weißt du, im dümmsten Fall kann ich ja bis auf diesen Freeze kommen.
No, tak oni zahrajou guard. A co já? Já tady prostě nemám situaci, jak se na ní dostat. Dobře, ale když tady bude guard, který
You can see the problem for the Czechs, viewer.
tak jak se já na ní dostanu?
Look at all those lovely
Tady přes tu
reds
situaci nikdy nijak.
just bursting to be points, but that pesky yellow is still there.
Já vím, ale já se neposunu. Já prostě tady ten guard mě zabíjí. Já nikdy nemám jak na to, já na to nemám rán. Z druhé strany já hraju single peel a doufám, že přetočí guard.
Když bych Když trochu přetočím a nechám...
This is also the risk if you play towards the centre. You know your opposition are going to be playing towards the centre because they don't have last stone, so they're quite happy to play towards the centre actually.
To už bych radši hrál tohle.
Weißt du, wenn sie ankennen,
mir
gelb
nachher
und der
jemand
jetzt rausschieben, sie können es nachher gelb rot.
But this is the risk. Once you have all that granite out front, you have to find a way
A co tohle teda?
to get to that opposition stone.
Za mě hit je tohle v pohodě.
But for us viewers, a lot of fun to see the game played like this. This sounds like a dangerous call then from the Czechs. I think what they're doing, coming round on the clockwise handle here, and they just want to nudge up against that little lonely yellow.
Jo, Máro, tak, aby byl skoro celý vidět za tím guardem.
Just there,
Jo, takovýhle
please.
směr. Nějaká 5, 4, 5.
Things squaring up for quite the finale in this fifth end of our featured game. We are in the third edition of the World Curling Tour event here in cosy little Adelboden.
Jo.
If you ever wanted to see a picture postcard Alpine town,
Točit. Hrady kuní, jo? Točím, jo?
come to Adelboden, but don't tell everyone,
Bílka.
or it'll get too
Buď jo?
busy.
Jo. Buď jo?
This looks pretty much exactly what the Czechs said they wanted.
Ať máme úhel.
And oh boy, is that yellow looking a bit frightened now. It is surrounded by
Jsme ho
reds.
trochu ťukli, že z té druhé strany...
Well, you're committed now, Switzerland.
Dobře ví.
To je dobrý, Máro. Trochu přetočil, je tam opravdu na tom ledě teďka takový něco,
Já správnou.
že tam začne balit.
Ale rychlost to neovlivňuje,
Philip
ne?
Andrios having a good look at this, saying, okay,
To není zas tak hrozný.
what could happen if the Czech team just took a run at this big pile?
Also ich habe nicht das Gefühl, dass es für 3, also es ist für 2
Jako přestaň,
Mann.
že
Marco
červený,
Hefti
jo,
also
jenom
coming up to
zelený
have a
nemáme
look.
Jak, ale jinak ano, ten červený teďka už tam vede. Pod tím malým děkom.
Lief
Spíš
zweit
ne.
nach vorne.
Also ich finde
Höchst.
schon, das war was wir das Gefühl haben, was da passiert.
You can see behind the players there in the mirror,
Ja, ich
towards the top
glaube,
of our screen. You can see there's that little yellow
3 glaube ich liegen
smuggled
noch
into
da.
the forefoot,
Aby si zahráli jenom
and
nějakou
about
frajerinu,
27
Ja,
reds
je nachdem,
in
wie
front of
gerade
it.
es ihn kann treffen kann, der 3 schon
postavili si
irgendwo
kolem
da liegt.
Just
řady
ready to pop out.
abychom tam měli 2 slashe.
Mit welchem Speed?
kterých nebudou mít čas se zbavit.
Je schneller dat
Michaela would like to see Benoit Schwartz taking a run at it.
Also weißt du, umso mehr Kraft hat auf dem, aber
Some sort
beim
of
Anfall, die gehen.
quintuple takeout. I would not put it past him.
Oben raus, glaube ja, glaube auch. Also für mich ist die Guard dort hoch
Přesně propočítaný, ne?
oder da.
Much scratching of heads.
Das ist der blöd.
Living a bit dangerously, the Swiss.
Ja, logisch, aber so kannst du vielleicht beide zutun.
Kannst es probieren, ist das sicher das Schwierigste.
Ja.
It is quite difficult, says Martin Rios.
Es kommt mega darauf an, was mit Spielern passiert, wenn er da
Ja, ja.
schießt.
Jak říkal
Wenn wir da gegen 2 spielen, finde ich gar gut, aber wenn wir gegen 4 spielen,
Ja, gegen 4 nicht, ich glaube einer geht immer.
Rios
einer
spent
geht immer, ja.
3
a
ist,
couple of years,
ja,
a while back,
Ist möglich.
playing with Spain.
der ist
I think
einfach,
it's his mother is
der muss einfach
Spanish.
besser sein als der.
Ja. Und Stych ist
So
auch
Rios completely fluent in Spanish
Also
and
da ist
also eligible
1,5 Steinbreit.
at that time. I think it's changed a bit now, but at that time eligible to play for Spain. And what a team that was.
Mein erster Call wäre Guard gewesen.
gut.
Willst du wieder von außen, oder?
Dumping out Russia in the B
Ja, ja.
division of the Europeans to promote themselves to the E division in Europe.
Das ist jetzt,
That
vorige
remains
ist das
my
Eisge.
favourite session of curling ever, was all of those knockout games that year in the Europeans.
Ja. Ist auch nicht blöd, wenn wir ein bisschen wischen.
Team England beat Norway in the ladies to get to the top group, and Team Spain beat Russia in the men's to get to the top group. It was an electrifying session. And still out there winning all these years later, Rios, indicating exactly where the stone has to be, and my goodness, is stone placement going to be important right now.
Oh, wow. Jetzt gilt wieder hure viel.
As you can imagine, viewer, there is no risk to the Czechs taking a run at this.
16-3.
With all those reds out front and that lonely little yellow with no backing anymore.
Možná ten triple kill.
Aber gell, schon einmal ein bisschen erwischen ist wahrscheinlich nicht schlecht.
Ja, ist nicht ein Vorwurf.
Tenhle nevyženou. Já když to praštím, on udělá něco takovýhleho.
Ja, ich hätte noch ein bisschen putschen, wäre nicht blöd gewesen.
Tak zkusim Lordu.
Still quite a few stones to come in this end. It's just all of them currently in
Pak by se
play,
přes něj dalo hrát.
apart from, what's that, 2?
Yep.
That's why this end taking a little bit longer than the others so far. Everybody needing their thinking hats on.
Aber ja.
So let's clear a space then. Let's try to give ourselves a chance to take a run of those reds with last stones.
Yep.
I think these yellows quite nicely set up for Czech. I think they can move a whole bunch. Oh, they can. They would rather have got a bit less of that yellow, I think, though, and rolled away to the left. But certainly more options after that throw from Marek Czernovsky.
Wie
And
viel hast du noch von dem, Justin?
the Swiss got their thinking hats on again.
Wie viel hast du?
Jako jestli mám kousek,
Also nicht so sicher.
tak to jde něčím pomalým. Ono tady jako točilo.
A couple of folks in the chat wondering about the Oslo Cup. Yes, well, there are many competing priorities this weekend.
No jasně, jakmile.
Also wenn, dann wird
We are here in Adelboden. This is the World Curling Tour event. There is indeed the Oslo Cup in Norway.
Aber jetzt, nein, aber jetzt haben wir da schon
Most
ein
of the
bisschen
Scandinavian
Jetzt sind wir
teams
mit dem
there.
Speed da drauf.
We've had Norwegian teams in this competition before.
Wenn sie auftun, was wo geht der
This
Gelb
year
rein?
they're in
Irgendwo auf
Oslo.
4, ja.
Jestli to může trefit tak nějak něčím, že bych...
And I checked about this, if there is any streaming from Oslo,
Pro ten
and the answer was
oponent zastal do strany.
not too sure.
Červený trefil ze zhora.
Maybe in the semis or finals. Shrugging emoji.
Má šanci jako vysnout se na hru.
Mir ist,
Nebo ne?
ich finde der
Myslím
gut.
si, že jo, když vezmeš...
And in any case, viewers, they don't have that nice lady who talks about the game.
malinko přes komoru, tak žlutý vyrazí spolehlivě, jenom otázka, jak se tam pak
Da aussen ist einfach gefährlich. Wenn du da bleibst, dann machst du es nur einfach. Dann musst du wirklich ein bisschen verstecken. Ja, ich finde den gut.
And in terms of
Ten nejlepší žlutý.
Okay.
where is the most popular man in curling, defending champion Yves Stoker. Yves and the team there actually in Canada this weekend. They're playing over there.
Dan nemen we nog 3, oder?
Yep, is goed.
Nee. De leer
Curling everywhere.
Si myslím, že na to nefunguje UL.
Wie?
Oké, já si myslím to samý. Mě jenom šlo o to, abych...
Nein, eigentlich nicht. Da ist nicht gut. Da können sie noch drauf schiessen und das ist geschickt. Wir müssen vorne 4 halten, tiefer.
Taylor asking in Yves Stoker's absence,
Wenn wir da sind, dann können
who's
sie
the
noch
most popular man in
reinschiessen.
curling here in Adelboden. And Clockbasher, an early vote for Konrad Stych
Normal, denke ich.
with his bobble hat.
Aber jetzt ist noch einmal durchgewischt.
They're over on the other sheet just now. Maybe we'll get a little view of that bobble hat. Well, if not in this session, we are certainly watching Team
Die ist
Stych
gut.
in other
Linie
sessions.
gut.
Linie gut.
Ist noch sehr breit.
Yes,
Boden.
we could certainly align on who's the most popular man in Adelboden.
13-9.
Ja, vím.
Nee, is goed
Nein,
genug.
nein,
So
nein.
another
Er muss hoch bleiben.
huge shot from Philip Hösli here.
Gut.
The Swiss thinking to themselves, okay, I think we need a second yellow in here,
Läuft schon hure normal.
because if those angles work out, and that little lonely yellow in the forefoot
Každopádně my chceme zůstat co
Nu
nejvíc
wird
tady,
Jesus
ne?
fragen, das
Disappears.
hat er schon mal gesagt.
Takže jenom nějaký třeba hack,
Ne.
Oh boy, are we in trouble.
12.
Aspoň 12.
Kurze
Brave call from the Swiss actually, that had to be good from Philip Hösli. Not easy there, he had no backing,
Dann liegt es 4 nach vorne.
Dobrá 12.
playing behind tee,
Takovým gardu.
dead easy when you don't want to.
Nejde moc. Asi ne.
Not so easy when your stone has to stop pretty much there.
Jo.
Tak já moc
Aber
nevím.
dann nochmal
Já myslím, že zametou hodně, když tak.
Okej.
Linie wäre perfekt. Vielleicht kannst du
Linie wäre gut, ja.
And actually, it was this tournament last year when we discovered that Yves Stoker is the most popular man in curling.
Sehr lange mit uns.
And unfortunately, we didn't have a stream with
Nemám vůbec nic,
That
pojď
team.
3 5.
over in Baden, and as mentioned, they're playing in Canada this week. But if you're ever on a stream when Stoker's team are playing, goodness me, the Stoker army are there in force, supporting their hero.
Lukáš! Lukáš! Radek!
Sollen 3 sein.
Radek! Radek! Lukáš! Lukáš! Lukáš!
Around the guard. Of course, this is a great shot from Lukas Klima. Look at that. That was always the danger for Swiss. As soon as the Swiss committed to this
Der andere ist etwa der.
aggressive play and started really guarding that lonely little yellow. Ooh, what a pickle.
Jsem ho dostal na líp.
Lukas Klima allowing himself a modest smile.
Jo, že stojíme jenom 2.
With, oh,
Jsem doufal, že by to mohlo
what do you
být.
think, viewers, from the mirror?
Máme 2 jenom.
Looks like at least 2 red, doesn't it?
No,
Those
tak,
2
když
Linie
zůstane
zit
10,
just sitting front of the forefoot there.
tak ti tu cestu může otevřít. Teoreticky.
You can see then the importance of Philip Hösli's first throw there. Imagine if that yellow in the 8 foot at the back. Imagine if that wasn't there anymore. I think red would be lying about 12.
Oh, Linie warten. Linie warten, ist breiter als vorig. Fast Justin, ja?
Justin, ja, Tamna.
Justin alles.
Halt.
Und Chisel.
Nur
The
Justin.
boys sweeping it to try to get it to
Halt,
curl. Huge shot for
Halt.
Philip Hösli here. Trying
Halt,
to
Junge.
avoid a hatful.
Halt, nach links kom. Halt.
Oh, that went well. What a shot from Philip Hösli.
Ja, hat mal eine Aufgabe.
Anything you can do,
Buď tohle,
Se může trefit tady oni.
can I do it better?
já si
Goodness
myslím, že
me.
půjdeš akorát teda.
Look at that.
Ale ne, jestli tam není
Not
tohle.
only is
Nur
it
für 2, oder?
kind of tucked in behind everything, I think you could see less than half of that
komm,
yellow.
Was hast du gesagt?
He's only got it sitting short as well.
Ich Ich habe ja geholfen.
Dan ben je afgelopen.
Oké. In.
Finely poised game. We're in the 5th end. We're playing 8 ends here in Adelboden.
Jdem někde na sedmičce, co? Jako tady, někde.
Bereme tady.
Normally it's the 6th end that gets like this, with
Už to takhle.
every single stone in play. But great for us viewers. Imagine if we have 3 more ends like this.
Jenom tam je, že můžeme líznout ten náš horní, to si Marek nemyslí, ale je to tam. Jo, že se můžete jako... Jo.
Dik halb.
Máro trochu méně. Ještě méně.
Nein,
Yep.
du hast gesagt, es ist schwierig, es ist dick halb zum Wegtreffen. Ja, das
This 5th end taking about as long as the other 4 ends put together. But important stuff here. Look at all those reds lying around.
Yep. Whoa.
But what an effort from Philip Hösli. This sounds like it's close.
Yep.
Oh, he's got it.
3.
Fine.
Ja, hier.
A huge score of 3 for the Czechs. Wow, what an end.
Málem to tam bylo i na ten lehký ťok, viď?
A valiant effort from Philip Hösli,
Jsem hodil 2
but
kameny, ty
precision
wow.
stuff from Lukáš Klima. Definitely deserving of a big smile for that. Fascinating end for us viewers. And yeah, maybe the Swiss being a little over-aggressive on that end. And all of those red counters piling up, and finally, a real big score of 3 points. So the defending champions, this guest skip not working out quite as well as the last one at the moment. I think that end probably took quite a lot out of everyone. There was a lot of discussion there, a lot of scratching of heads. Well worth it though for the Czechs. I think Marek about to put, count them, 1, 2, 3 points on the board, and that means that after the 5th end here in Adelboden, in our featured game between Team Hösli from Switzerland, Team Klima from Czech, it is Klima who is leading the Swiss 5 points to 3.
Co Luka?
Úzkej, hodně úzkej, musí být kruh. No. Jedeme hodně přes střed.
Well then, we're in the 6th end of
Ale když někam se Máro, bude chcípat podle mě.
our featured game at the World Curling Tour event here in
Klidně
Adelboden.
ten
It's
směr
our
je
3rd year
mizerný směr.
here in Adelboden. We have guests from all over.
Okay. Hezká dílka, to je v pohodě.
We have several Swiss teams.
A nic nejel tolik ven, ale strčil
We
to
have
do
our guests from Czech Republic that we're watching in our featured game. We have Team Mercier from France, 2 teams from Italy, Team Stych with the bobble hat from Poland, and all the way from Korea, we have the team from Seoul, who you may have seen in action in Scotland last weekend. So they're continuing their tour. We shall definitely be watching them a little bit later in this competition.
Bitte.
First time that we've
Tímhle směrem já
welcomed a
osobně
team
vydal
from
druhý dovnitř.
Asia Pacific
Jo.
region.
5, centerline.
No. Můžeš trochu ubrat.
Very cosy competition here in Adelboden. High standard of curling in real picture postcard mountain town.
A nechce moc nejít ta ruka. Jo?
So how will the Swiss respond then? For me, the Swiss were
Podle mě
really
mnohem
a
lepší
little bit
stopa,
ahead
pojede
in this
daleko.
game, score-wise
Mnohem lepší stopa.
and accuracy-wise, until that
Vidím.
5th end. And then I wonder if they were maybe a little bit too aggressive too early in that end, guarding up that lonely little yellow.
Jo, to chtěl, dobře.
4.
And of course, they've paid a price for it. The high risk, high
Wenn
reward
wir so rein oder
went to the
noch
Czechs.
Nechceš házet na zde potom?
Size. Yep.
Sicher 4, ja.
The Swiss going all out aggressive with their first 2 stones. We've seen Justin Halset
Eigentlich gut.
having really nice shot placement.
Eigentlich gut.
And looks like Rio's calling for the double guard.
Ah, ist gut. Ist gut, ist gut, ist gut, ist gut. Easy Portugiesi.
Make sure
Hey,
they've
Rafa,
got
oh.
plenty to hide behind.
Nevím moc, jak to gardovat.
Again,
Asi to
you know
bude na
you're
to
going to be
hrát ten
facing
další, no.
3 stones on the centre from your opposition.
Potřebujeme víc chovat tenhle. Takže
You need to
můžeme
have
být
courage,
defendování.
trust the middle order that they can clear out the centre.
Rybuje těsnáčí, tak
Rios
to
and
nevadí.
Marco Hefti, both real big throwers. They will trust themselves, back themselves to clear out the centre. They need, first of all though, from Rios, they're going to have to get the stone in behind the centre guard somehow, either with a hit and
Rybuje
roll
těsnáčí, tak nevadí, já potřebuji
or maybe
vysoko
with a
být.
street draw.
8. Potřebuji být 4. 8. S tím já nemám co dělat.
Or we may see them attack the centre first, try and bring the centre guard, sorry, the corner guards into play a little bit later in the end.
14-0, der ist lang nach mir.
This is a bit of a mistake from the Czechs.
Fajn.
To be honest, that just gives Rios a huge target.
9.
9.
Je to rychlý v této stopě, Lukáš byl 4-4.
Oh.
It looks kind of cool right now, having 3 stones out of 3 snuggled there in the forefoot.
Fort!
Ja. Mit der Stych.
Nein, ist glaub gut.
But all
Nein,
you've
ist
done
gut.
is
4!
give a
Wer
nice
ist
big
frei?
target
4!
to big hitting Martin Rios.
Ich glaube, ist schon gut, 4. Vielleicht müssen wir noch irgendetwas drumherum oder so.
Yep. 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 Oh, Justin. Ah, ja.
Again, not too much weight at this. Important is we want this yellow.
Sorry. Jetzt wäre ich der Chance gehabt.
I was going to say behind the guards. That would have been ideal.
Ich glaube, ist close to board.
Ja. Länge ist gut.
Glaube ich.
12-3 ist okay.
Ja, schau mal. dann kannst du
Weight was
checken.
fine, say the sweepers.
Nevím, jestli je rád tady s tím
Oder
mám.
auf Out geschoben. Über 2 Stunden.
Nebo tady, ten chumel bude prostě moc veliký a přijde nějaký kámen před to a máme problém.
What we'll see from
Ani jedno není ideální. Asi tohle mi přijde lepším.
what we'll see from the
Tohle není
Swiss
takový
surely
problém.
they will be
Jo,
working
tady do
hard
toho
now
chumelu se mi nechce.
to try to bring those corner guards into play.
Jelo nám to tady celkem rovně.
At some point they have to do something about that pair of reds in the forefoot there, but what they want to do is keep the Czechs busy over towards the other side of the sheet. We will see the Swiss working hard to get a shot in behind those corner guards, either with a hit and roll or maybe with a dead draw.
Lukáš,
And
Lukáš.
that's their best chance of getting a mistake from the Czechs and hopefully setting themselves up for a score of 2 or more.
No.
So, as you were, another
Bylo to 10-3.
big target of granite for Rios.
A já se na to snažím říkat. Gardy
Jetzt nochmal.
Nechceme rolovat se.
Entweder das oder einfach mal 2 nehmen.
Ja.
Mám pocit, že naznačuju ty Bčka, co jako jsou.
Mir gefällt das.
Okay.
11.
Co?
Bisschen schneller.
No,
So, same idea, a little bit faster.
jak jsem tady
Since
měřil,
Philip
Lukáš,
Hösli.
říkal, že to
11,
pojezí moc
oder?
pěkně.
Ja.
Ten aut minimálně.
I think
Vůbec
the
neznám.
first stone from Martin Rios, that I think they said it was about 12.5 seconds hog to hog, so that's a little more than hack.
Yep.
And this time calling for 11 seconds, so a little bit faster.
Yep.
Yep.
A little bit further to roll this time, but yes, no sweeping. Typically a good sign.
Whoa.
Wow.
No roll. No roll. Sehr schön.
And that's definitely going to hang around, and that's exactly what they were looking for. So that's going to keep the Czechs busy now, miles away from those centre reds. That's good, patient stuff from the Swiss.
Vidím to takhle.
Zo.
Tohle je takový mech. Šel bych sem.
Oké.
Hard to tell from our angle
Právě.
if you could come all the way round on
Rychlost
the
celkem standardní.
anti-clockwise handle. and just try to bump that yellow out the back. Maybe not, since the Czechs are electing to ignore it and just put their own stone on that path to stop the Swiss putting a second stone around those corner guards.
Jenom 5. Místa mám dost, jenom 5. Čekej, jestli
He said
můžeš.
typically the sixth end
Vypadá, že jede.
can be quite pivotal in the game.
Co nejvíš?
Not quite as complicated as the fifth end already in this game, but oh golly.
Teď hrajeme na kruh.
Quick, get a patch of Velcro.
OK.
That stone just stopping.
Aha, jsem myslel, že musím přidávat fakt hodně.
Was?
Rot ist besser.
Ja, ja.
3-8 máro a kdyby si neťuk, tak jel jako skoro až za kruh.
Já vím.
Yeah, what do you do? Do you start attacking the center, or do you keep play over there behind the guards?
Je to vlastně podobný podle těch
Or
stopek
yeah,
jako
basically same
kluci
idea.
hráli
So we've played this shot a couple of times now. That control take out to hit and roll across, that removes one of the reds from near the centre, and hopefully, oh my mistake, they are doing a dead draw. The red from the Czechs behind the tee there, you can see, providing a little bit of backing if needed, and the stone catching the curl really nicely now.
Go, Chisel! Go, 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 go!
Lovely stuff from Marco Hefti. Really buried in behind those guards. Not easy to move that because there are those those two stones, one yellow, one red, behind it, and that really
Takhle zevnitř tady je
forces the
ideální.
Czechs to make a real precise shot here.
Oni jsou kousek před tý lineou, my hrajeme 5-6. Když bude točit, může být 6.
The Czechs have no choice really. Well, they could be uber aggressive as well and start putting out a guard on the centre line, but we saw how much that did not really work out. And I don't think they'll be tempted to do that. This is the right shot, but it has to be good. If the shot over curls, if the shot isn't beating the yellow, essentially, then we'll see the Swiss attacking those reds. But this is looking nice. This looks like it's got a good line. Yes, no sweeping again. Have they got their sweeping calls right? They surely have. And now the situation exactly the opposite. Difficult to move that red. You can definitely get to it, but can you get to it with enough weight to bump it through, and at the same time curl enough so that it doesn't crash on all those rocks behind?
Já jsem čekal, že bude menší bump. Já jsem se bál, aby se...
Backline!
Já jsem čekal, že bude bump jenom někam na tý line. Ale jenom bump jenom jako až...
Aber jetzt der mitnehmen.
The game really slowing to a snail's pace out there.
Er is einfach!
A podle mě Radek věděl, že je dlouhý.
Wordt het dun! Oberdoren!
No
Backline!
time clocks here, no particular time limit. You're just encouraged to get on with it, please. But if you were at the club and the next session was wanting to come on, the last end bell would be about to go, and look at that. They're not even off their sixth end. No one in a rush for supper out there, apparently.
Oh, Vie, 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 Vie. Vie, 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 gewoon wiet, 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 wiet. Wieter! Wieter!
Oh, so close to being real perfect from Marco Hefti. Really difficult shot that was called for.
Mercier.
Buďka nebo tohle. Ale...
Hele, stojíme
Jo, wie der
1, 2, 4.
This is an interesting
Rote
change of pace from Klima. Deciding now to ignore that yellow, just thrown from Hefti. And indeed, going for the aggressive stuff and throwing up guard.
Půlky, ale...
Já bych dal větší půl. Já si myslím, že když budu takhle...
It looks like
Ale možná může dát ještě míň, máš pravdu.
That yellow just thrown by Marco Hefti, of the stones behind corner guards, that's the one that's the closest at the moment. So this unusually bold call for me from the Czechs. They don't want to be bothered with that yellow in the 8 foot anymore. It is getting closer and closer to the front ring. But this a bold call.
Stačí to tady, chceme ho krejt tak, aby koukal třeba centiák od Lukáše. Jestli to není moc ještě furt. Se ptám. Ještě možná Uberko ještě. Tohle mě nebo co? Souhlas. Hrem 3.
It's Team Hösli who get to stay in bed a bit longer tomorrow morning. They have their bye at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Everyone else on the ice, they will be up early. We have one more round. The other group plays at 9 o'clock this evening, European. And then we're all back at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And let's see if this bold call from the Czechs pays off. It turned into a bit of a nightmare for the Swiss boys in the 5th end there.
Ja. Max. Dann weißt du nicht mehr, das sind 11 sind Pfeifen gegrappelt.
Ja, das stimmt.
Findest du das blöd, wenig?
Nein.
Lieber mehr noch.
Mir gefällt die Sache. Ich glaube, ich muss einfach gutes Tempo spielen.
Nevím, jestli ten double mám, spíš ne, podle mě.
Philip Hösli reckoning he can get around that guard out front, just thrown by Lukáš Klima. From where the brush is. This looks like what, maybe again a sort of hack weight. There's definitely space for it to curl. And we've seen that the ice is nice and fast and curly, as we expect it these days.
Oh, clean, clean.
So if you're tuning in thinking, oh, I shall catch the last end of the Hösli Klima match, we're only on the 6th end, viewer. You have lots of curling left.
Hard! Hard,
You can indeed get all the way around that guard.
Good.
That is good. Again, a really difficult call there.
Bitte.
You had to be so close to the guard to get that shot perfect. And because it was that slower weight, if you'd ever touched the guard, you'd have hardly moved the guard at all, and you would have ended up in quite a pickle. So I think that's a decent effort from Philip Hösli.
Hrajeme to jako čistý kamerou s tím, že když ho necháme kousek do hradka, tak je to OK.
It's our Korean guests who have had the afternoon off today. Maybe they shall be watching their next opposition. They play the young Italian team tomorrow morning, Team Ribotta.
Jestli stej tohohle kamery bude u ní shot?
Já nevím, na co se ptáš, promiň.
And later on this evening, it's the Italian team everybody knows about. We saw them having a real strong performance at lunchtime. It is Team Retornaz.
Kluci se ptají, když on zahraje tady ten stay, jestli nebude lepší.
Než co, ale?
Než to, co hodíme sem.
Nowhere near the last end, even though we've been playing for almost 2 hours.
Budeme jenom tady. Kluci se ptali, že úplně utopíme, jestli prostě
If you feel like going to make a cup of tea,
já jsem říkal, že nevím z té druhé strany.
or maybe walk the dog or something, I think you've probably got time.
Sorry, vůbec jsem nechyt myšlenku.
Navíral jsem.
Můžem. Fajn. Nebo klidně vejš o něco.
Jo, vlastně. Ale vlastně ho necháme hrát jako draw z téhle strany spíš.
I think, yeah, just something on the centre line will likely force Philip Hösli to just draw the 4-foot.
Asi by byl shot. Centerline. Kus modrých. Tam ten zadní je třetinou modrej, takže stojíme 2. Centerline, půl modrej. Jede to.
Last throw for Lukáš Klima. This all-important 6th end. I don't see where the Swiss boys can manufacture a 2 at the moment. And the weight for this looks just nice.
Chceme modrý, pojď. Chceme kus modrých, pojď. Pokračuj.
I think that's found a really nice spot. But Philip Hösli thinking there's a double taker. I'm not sure you can get round the, yeah, how much of that can you see? I'm not sure you can get round at enough pace with enough weight to catch the inside of that red and spin yourself across to make that double takeout. I'm not so sure. I think Philip Hösli might just have to draw the forefoot here on the clockwise handle. And definitely a momentum shift in this game. The first half of the game for me, I think the Swiss team were on top of it. They were just a little bit more consistent, a little bit more accurate with their shot placement. But a real pivotal 5th end, which took about 3/4 of an hour, I think. But well worth it if you're a Czech fan. And the Czechs really controlling the 6th end as well.
Für mich ist das oder der.
Rio's just wondering, is it easier to come through on the anti-clockwise handle? You've got more space on the clockwise handle, but
Ja, aber da musst du erst 7 führen lassen, oder? Das sowieso, ja. Sonst drückst du ja der nie.
you need to be a bit more careful with the line maybe on the clockwise handle. You can afford to be a little bit heavier maybe on the anti-clockwise handle. But don't think about it too long, boys. Don't let your rhythm get too disrupted. So anti-clockwise handle it is. I think we've played a few more stones up this side of the sheet, and they're maybe a little concerned that the clockwise handle has maybe got a little bit frosty. And as you can see, that little red just at the back of the forefoot. In German you call it a Bremsstein, a brake stone, as in it can act as a brake for a stone that's running on too quickly. No right or wrong here, more what are you comfortable with. So it's Philip Hösli who has to throw, and the stone that he, or the shot rather, that he feels more comfortable with is going to be easier for him. Drawing against 2, Philip Hösli. Big shot here in the context of the game.
Justin! 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 Also touch! Also touch! Also touch! Also touch! Sorry. Sorry, Lucas.
No problem.
He had
I think it's 1 yellow.
plenty of beans, that stone. Looks like there was maybe a clashing of brushes or a clashing of skips or ice skips, but that is enough from Philip Hösli. Clutch shot from him. What a difference that makes to the score.
You know what's happening, can you call it?
A score of 1 yellow
Oh, sorry,
makes
I
the
didn't
score
wanna
5-4.
block you. Sorry for
No problem.
And imagine if that had gone wrong, a score of 2 red would have put the game almost out of sight.
Ich würde sagen, 2 auf die Linie.
Martin just explaining he accidentally blocked Lukáš Klima from sweeping the opposition stone. You can sometimes get in a tangle when there's a lot of stones there. But Lukáš saying, oh no, I understand. These things happen. But real important point on the board there for the Swiss team. What a difference that is. Instead of 7-3, it's now 5-4. And the Swiss still very much in this game. And we will be looking to Justin Halser to set us off again with 2 nice stones, please, in this 7th end.
jednička. Blank samozřejmě taky dobrý. Styl jedný taky není problém. Jo, protože máme výhody do posledního. Zatím jako na druhou si věřím, že ten je v pohodě. To znamená spíš, nechci dohazovat jako do čísla.
Einfach mal nichts.
Jako na prd.
Macht alles allein, wenn er 3 hat. Dann macht er alles allein.
Close game over on the other sheet as well. That's young team Ribotta from Italy.
Und
And they're
praktisch alleine.
playing team Stych, who have an early vote for most popular man in curling with his bobble hat. And they're also having a real close game. That's a score of 4 each. And Martin Rios, deep breath there. That was a really important point to put up on the board, making the score 5 points to 4. And the Swiss still very much in the hunt for this game now.
Marek u kamene. Směr je OK. Směr je OK, je to vaše. Potřebujeme 5, Radek. Radek musí hodně. Pojď, Ráďo. Směr, pojď, Ráďo.
Pretty effective with hammer here.
Pojď, Ráďo.
He scored a 2, chose to blank the 4th, and then scored a huge 3 in the 5th, which really changed the momentum of the game.
Nemám.
Nepřišel mi dojezd už takovej.
Dojezd se mi přijde horší než tam.
Třeba to druhým kamenem.
Not sure we've got time to play such a long 7th and a long 8th end though. There's supposed to be another draw in an hour. But we do love to see stones in play, so we mustn't complain. And I think Jason Hauser really earning his supper today. I think that's another 2 excellent shots from him. And look at that, just lovely separation. Really hard to play that second stone. You want that second throw just over the hog line, but still in fact over the hog line, and very difficult to throw it slowly enough that it doesn't get too close to your first guard, but fast enough that it does in fact end up in play. So real nice stones there from Justin Hauser. He's determined to keep his team in this game.
Vysí.
So, ich glaube, es ist Zeit für das 3.
Pojď dílku, ale vysím.
But Lukáš Klima not quite finding the curl with this one. His weight looks lovely. But he maybe just popped that stone out. That stone not at all finding the centre line. Now definitely space and opportunity for Martin Rios to put real pressure on the Czechs in the 7th end. Although having said that, there were quite a few little reds in front of the tee line in the 5th end, and that went well for the Czechs. But I'm sure the Swiss will have learned from that. And Rios' stone just holding out a little bit on that clockwise handle as well.
Go!
Curling pretty nicely now. Yeah, that's okay. And in any case, Klima, textbook tactics, removing those centre guards. And this is where we shall see again the value of Justin Hauser's shots. He's tried to make a double take out as difficult as possible. Free guard zone is over. Radek Bohaj, if he can, he's entitled to make a double take out. But actually I think they're not even considering it because of that great separation from Justin's 2 stones there. So just removing that front one, the one just over the hog line.
Sicher noch ein paar Mal das Eis machen, aber haben wir noch überlegt, der rum irgendwann.
Well, we've seen that work for them as well, haven't we? Going around the anti-clockwise handle in this direction. put a second yellow counter in behind everything. You would call that a Versicherung shot, an insurance shot, in case things get a bit frantic out front.
Ja, das wäre auch mein Call für Höflis erstes.
Ja.
Yeah, what's the objective here for Switzerland?
Und dann wäre das irgendwie so etwas.
Ja, wenn das okay.
Höflis
Do they want to force Klima to score? Force Czech to score 1? Or would Swiss rather steal this end?
Ja.
Quite a different complexion depending on what you want to do. If the Swiss can steal a point here, then the scores are even going into the last end. Swiss will not have last stone. Or if they can force someone for the Czechs, then Swiss will be -2 points, but they will have that important last stone. That situation, I'm a scientist, but that situation, I can't remember the data. Which situation is better? If you're a Swiss, would you rather be level points and try to steal the last end, or would you rather be -2, but you do have that all-important last stone advantage? Oh boy, Rios' stone even closer to the hog line than Justin Hauser's. Getting maximum separation of their double guard here. And all but guaranteeing they will still have some kind of centre guard.
Yep. Okay. Okay.
I feel like I would rather take the chance of having scores level and trying to steal the last end rather than being down 2 and having to make 2 just to force an extra end. But as I say, that doesn't come from data actually, even though I'm a scientist. That just sounds more appealing to me, or sounds more realistic to win the game by stealing 1 point rather than trying to score 2 or more with last stone.
Zehnmal, ja! Zieh! Ja! Ja, ja!
Well, the Swiss are determined not to let it happen. They are certainly not going to let the Czechs blank this end.
Ja, ja!
That would be exactly what the Czechs want to do, so that is exactly not what the Swiss want to do. And this stone they discussed already, and that's a nice shot. That's pretty much what they called. And the point of that stone is now that red on the tee line. Yes, that red is nice and close to the centre, but again, it doesn't have any backing. And there are a couple of dangerous yellows out front that they could punch back onto that red now. And harder for the Czechs to remove those dangerous yellows out front when there's a red behind it. So that is what they wanted to do. Not always do you just want to completely remove an opposition stone. Sometimes you do just want to punch it back a couple of meters. I think that stone looks like it was hanging wide the whole way for Radek Bohaj. Sorry, for Marek Czernovsky. Decision time. Yeah, do you want to play one more guard?
Wer?
At some point you have to do something about that red just next to Martin's feet.
Ich glaube jetzt auch, ja.
Spät.
Hast du ja schon mal gespielt.
Same shot.
As we said, you're more likely to get a mistake from your opposition if there are guards out front. Harder to do a run back of a guard into the stones in the house rather than if all the stones are already in the house. That makes life a bit easier if you're the Czechs and you just want to start clearing up. But it does sound like they're taking on this
Yep.
yellow onto red just now,
Yep.
bringing the game
Whoa.
into the house.
Yep. Yep. Yes. Do dat. Zie je.
That was a
Mal dit.
big
Zie
sweep
niet
from
zaken in mijn winkel.
Philip
zo.
Hösli and Justin Howes there.
No 3 op 6.
And well worth it. Now you have two dangerous yellows in the front rings. You have that yellow on the right of the centre line as we see it,
Okay.
all ready to just pop that red through. But, as we said, without any stones out front, easier for the Czechs to just start clearing up. But Marek Czernovski was a little bit wide, I think, with his first throw. Let's see if he's adjusted that.
Lukáš, hodně Lukáš.
He's coming down the other handle this time.
Okay.
And yeah, that's okay.
To by tam mohlo být, ne?
He does sacrifice his own red, but importantly for the Czechs, everything is still pretty open if Lukáš Klima has to draw with his last stone. And even bringing the blank back into play, actually, which is not what the Swiss want. The Swiss need to keep stones in play here.
Nelze tak špatně.
Jo, also wir müssen schon.
Myslíš, že to bylo hlavně od Risu?
Ten
Já
je
myslím,
mizerný,
líbí,
ale
jo.
jako mě přišlo, že to bylo docela v pohodě.
Aha.
Já nevím, jestli byl úzký a vyhránil
Willst du bis hinten?
Ne.
A mně přišlo docela dobrý. A pak dostal vlastně velký kopanec a já jsem si říkal, to je jam.
Der ist so einfach, der ist nicht schwierig.
Ale jako na tom mezi horem to prostě
Klima's
team.
Also weißt du,
takže
wenn wir da
They've
sind,
been real close to
Super,
some
Ich
big
würde aber da
results
hinten.
in the past 2 or 3
wenn
seasons.
er da freeze ist, kann man
byli
wieder
relativně
freezen.
volný.
They were
Wenn wir
the
da sind und er freeze.
the highest team that did not qualify for Olympics.
Ja,
That's to say, at the Olympic qualifying competition, only 10 teams
Von hinten.
qualify to play at Olympics for curling.
ja, ist nicht gut. Halber 4.
And
Mein
Klima's
so
team
etwas.
essentially finishing in place 11,
Yeah.
really tough to bear.
Falls was.
And the Czechs just
Mit
missing
Finish
out on the
bringt's mir
Olympics
glaub
before
gut
that
noch.
as well.
Ja, vor allem nach der Center.
Tady ten je blbej, že jo. Takže
And that just goes to show it's just really hard out there, even to qualify for Olympics, never mind have a good campaign and win a medal. This would be a big feather in the hat for Team Klima if they could pick off last year's champions.
já to nemám.
En dan gaan er jederzeit.
We might need to get the big
Linie is
man
goed.
on a plane back
Linie
from
hüpft
Canada
immer.
to defend the trophy.
Linie muss.
Ja, na, wie? Schaust du ihn jetzt?
Ja, Chisel.
Vypadá menší, ne?
Vypadá menší, ale
Komm, 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 weiter, Chisel.
Hilfen.
Weiter, tief, tief.
And this stone painstakingly making its way towards the 4-foot.
Okay.
And that's about the 3rd or 4th time Philip Hösli's done that.
What
He's
the boys?
sneaked a stone in
Tak mě to napadlo.
behind a stone that's already touching the 8-foot.
asi tohle.
It is real curly out there.
Oder wir können hinter der Rot. Weil wir sind schon dort dann.
Definitely this double takeout possible for Lukáš Klima. But not too much flexibility.
Ja.
You can see how close that red is. Just maybe
Píl si ztrátil střelcem.
less than a hand's width
Píl si ztrátil
of a gap there. Lukáš Klima's first throw in the 7th end. Ooh, and that is a bit wide. He's just got the one.
Není dobrý.
This was still living a little bit dangerously for me. I think they came into the house, they brought the game into the house maybe a stone or two earlier than I might have liked, but they have sprung their trap. They have got a mistake from Czechs.
Wenn wir jetzt rausgehen. Da. Wenn wir gescheiter da nicht.
Ja, da ist mir halt die Trigger.
2 stones to come.
Ja.
1 for Team Hösli, defending champions from Switzerland.
Es schadet einfach noch etwas 12.
Ja, ist gut.
1 from Team Klima of Czech Republic, who are surely
Ja,
Nicht ohne Risiko.
on the
musst
verge
einfach auf die
joining
Innenseite. Also auf der
the real big
Innenseite
teams.
kann alle 3 nehmen und auf wieder schiessen.
Nein, also ich will nicht.
They may be wondering also how on earth it has taken
Ja, Guard ist auch gut, aber...
over 2 hours to not play 7 ends yet.
12.
Ja.
Selbst,
Well, viewers, I
selbst
don't want
das
to hear a
ist
single
okay,
complaint about
Ja.
girls being chatty after this.
oder? Einfach ein bisschen höher als der sollte sein.
Ich habe das Gefühl, wenn möglich, ich will nicht tiefer als gerade ganz rein.
Ja, ja.
I think we have hours worth of data
32, so etwas.
support the notion that
Yeah.
it's the boys who are equally chatty.
Spur mehr als vorhin.
Finde ich gut.
The whole team aligned then, making sure we all know exactly where we want this stone to land. Really force Lukáš Klima to play a difficult shot. Try to eliminate the chance of the Czechs being able to score 2 here. They can really only afford to give up a maximum of 1 point, the Swiss here, otherwise I think it's almost game over.
Aktiver als vorher.
Dann
Philipp
Philip
Justin.
Hösli having a real good game actually. He's pulled out some
Ja, halt dann.
Just-
really big
Justin,
shots
Dan.
when they've needed it.
Halt.
Komm, Schissel.
Linie gut genug.
Oh.
Heftig.
Oh,
Heftig,
heftig.
Wurst.
Ja.
Yep, yep.
Oh, 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 oh.
Goed zo. Oké.
Asi lepší zkoušet tohle, než si jít tady po nějakém
Nicely played from the
12.
Swiss.
12 takový asi ne,
Jo,
no.
souhlas. Krádeš jedný úplně v pohodě.
My si říkáme, že budeme rázit prostě tohle. Protože když vyhrá ten místem okolo, tak je takový mech.
I think if your life depended on it, I think there is a double. But as you can see, those yellow stones
Hele,
almost
ach,
level is
lepší
incredibly
je
thin.
jedna nebo naše jedna, když?
Naše jedna, oba mám radši, než vyrovnaný.
But worth a try here
Dvojku a hrajeme strand.
Was verliert er?
if you can get that ever so thin double.
Weißt du, muss ich dann nicht einmal. Hat der wie als
You will score
Bremse
2
auch.
and almost certainly put the game
Aber ja,
beyond the reach of the Swiss unless there's
Ja.
some kind of disaster.
To hrajeme,
da ist er weiter neben.
ale
And even if you don't make the double,
chvíli dobrý.
you're only giving up 1 point. That would make the scores level, and you would still have last stone in the 8th and surely final end. So worth a try.
Ne, nikdy.
Really difficult double,
Lukáš,
but worth a try.
Lukáš, tak máme něco aspoň.
Něco máme určitě, ale
Yeah, you can see how thin that double was,
Oh,
but may as well
you
have a go.
lost,
Yeah.
one of your breaks.
Oh dear,
Oh,
has someone
yeah.
lost a piece off their shoe?
Yeah, but you lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a steal of 1 it is to
Do you have another
Switzerland.
pair or?
Máme
Let's
tu. Máme někdo.
That nobody's shoes are disintegrating. That would be real bad
Jaká
luck at this
šance, že
stage.
bychom tu měli
Also,
Samuel-
Bobe,
Samuelku nebo-
Ich würde
That
vorschlagen,
was a steal of 1 to the Swiss.
Schön
Well played end
zärtlich.
from them. Living a little
einfach
bit
die Rios
dangerously,
auseinander
but taking
das
the
andere
risk,
mal noch bringen.
and it paying off for them.
Haben wir jetzt so lange
But finally,
aufgespart.
worth a
Vielleicht
try
bringen wir jetzt noch
for the Czech team to go for that big,
Lepenku
well,
jsem sebou
that very
nebral.
thin double actually. That would be a big shot though. A real thin double there. Worst case, just giving up the 1, which is what happened. A steal of 1 to the Swiss, and that means that going into the 8th and final end, scores are tied. In our featured game, Team Hösli of Switzerland against Team Klima of Czech Republic. It is 5 points each.
Jo, jo.
Well, viewer, I hope you didn't have plans for after 8 o'clock this evening, because this game is really going to the wire. We're in the 8th end of our featured game at the 3rd edition of the World Curling Tour tournament here in Adelboden. We are watching last year's champions, Team Hösli from Switzerland, and they are playing really the nearly men of curling. They're really awkward to get past Team Klima, but not quite making finals and winning championships quite yet. And scores are tied going into this final end, and oh no! I think that's a mistake though from Justin Hauser. He surely wanted that as a guard. We can still we can still hear the checks. Although, oh, here comes one now. Excellent.
Easy chisel next.
Okay. Guys.
14, 4.
Prej za minutu bude ready. Počkáme na něj.
Jako kdyby zápas nebyl už tak dost pomalej.
I'm not sure what the communication was there.
Give it no worries.
Nehmen wir halt mit einer Klaue, hä?
Ja, ja.
Myslím si, že budu špílovat.
Nehmen wir halt mit einer Klaue.
Jo.
Rios conveniently totally fluent in English as well. We shall maybe learn from him what the communication was to the teams there. Probably something like, supper is ready. Can you finish the game, please? We do have another round on at 9 o'clock. So if you are either the other group or the ice crew, you will be keen to get on the ice after these games finish. And yeah, that was a mistake from Justin Hauser, because that stone slipping into the house, not protected by free guard zone, and that is not the way you set up stealing a one.
Stream!
After having a really lovely game, played pretty much 14 out of 14 stones, Justin Hauser perfectly.
Ja, sicher auf
Then a bit of a rush of blood to the head with his first throw in the 8th end.
Yep.
Kannst du mir helfen?
This is better. This is still going to be protected by free guard zone, and is it touching the centre line? It is, and that means it is also protected by the no tick rule. We're playing no tick here at Adelboden. We also played no tick at Baden. A rule that honestly is really not needed at the club. But at this level, the likes of Justin Hauser were becoming so good at the tick shot. But in this kind of end, where scores are tied, just one team or the other has to score something. If you can get so good at that tick shot, or Valentin Tanner, he was really talented at the tick shot as well. And if you could get that tick shot working, then the end was almost over, really, after 3 or 4 stones. That's why we have the no tick rule.
Ja, ich had gedacht, entweder, also nou met me garden.
So that second stone of Justin Hauser, the yellow out front, protected by both free guard zone and no tick zone, no tick throw, no tick shot.
Dan waren ich rennen für den Tap, aber ist nicht.
Das damit vorne 4 spielen, dann ein bisschen wischen, oder?
Ja, ist gut. Auch das 3, hä? Das 3 ist auch clever, hä?
Ja, ich glaube, das hilft.
Sind ihr einverstanden? So hinten 8 Länge Natur, oder?
Ja, hinten 4, hinten 8 so.
Ja, aber eben, ich spiele T, close to T, oder?
Ja, gut.
The Swiss then taking a chance with going into the house now, by the sound of it.
Mooi.
Hey, een klein Platz.
Good
Ja, gaan.
news, I guess, if you are the ice crew
Heeft die vangen.
or if you are
Doe richtig.
the next group of
Wat lang
teams who are on at 9 o'clock.
lang niet,
The good
hè.
news is
Okay, ja, dan
this
gaat het
game, our featured game
Yep,
here,
yep.
unlikely to
Yep.
go to an extra end now because scores are already tied going into the 8th.
Oh, gaat over einfach.
And that's pretty much exactly what Rio said he was going to do.
Weet je, beetje steden, een beetje
Ja, machen
steden.
wir nicht so nichts am Schluss. Schmeiß ich das raus.
I would always do this as well. I am, of course, the world's most boring tactician, but I would always remove this card, force the game into the house, and then I think if you're Czech, you have a much better chance of winning the game from here.
Yep. Oké.
Van naar buiten.
Zo, hodně teda. Já to právě neviděl, ale
Immer Mühe.
jako,
Meter
jel
weniger.
jsem moc pěkně a čekal jsem, že spíš budeme vyset.
Jetzt haben wir ein bisschen Platz. Lieber Höfti dann. Lieber Höfti. Macht sicher Schott. Hard Jungs, Linie kommt gut.
Let's go, boys.
Hard Jungs, Linie kommt gut.
Let's go, boys. Let's go.
Und dann nur Höfti. Yep. Komm. Komm, bringen. Hard.
Now we have
Hard,
some
swap.
folks from Witzikon Club. That's my
Gut gewusst, Jungs.
local club here in Switzerland. Nice to see you guys.
Ist ein Shot. Shot.
Mně se asi líbí tohle. Když to bude píl, tak je to OK, ale zkoušel bych rád tohle.
Objectives very clear
Když
for
uděláš
this
tohle,
8th
tak je
end.
taky OK.
Both teams want to score something.
Aha. Mir ist ganz Match so. Ist nicht grob oder schlecht, aber einfach nicht präzise. Es fehlt immer etwas.
Yep. Oh. Maar op Rich.
Well, now that found
Dobré.
a slightly unlucky angle from second thrower Radek Boharc.
Nach, bitte.
Místo tam není, že jo, bro?
Riosin ist 15-6. Also Speed.
Ne, já jsem na to neměl nikdy hrát.
Da du Nummer.
That red guard out front handily blocking the anti-clockwise handle now, the anti-clockwise turn. And that's exactly what the Swiss needed. If they're going to steal this game from under the nose of the Czechs, that's exactly what they needed. Was catching the stones at slightly the wrong angle, leaving a stone or two out front.
Schweit draussen noch.
Ještě možná se na to podíváš, jako tohle není jistý. Záleží, že nechaj garda, ale není jistý, že budeš hrát jednoduchý kámen.
4 Bits.
Man muss.
Ja.
Kommt jetzt ein bisschen runter.
Ja, einfach mal nichts. Ja, 4 musst ein Bits. Musst. Yes! Go! Super! Gut.
Asi ten ráno.
Asi double now.
Ein gutes Rezept, einfach mal nichts, oder?
Nice team shot there. Marco Hefti throwing really nice weight. The sweeper's really controlling it, making sure it's landing in exactly the right place. And Martin Rios just keeping eyes on that line, make sure it's right in front of the shot stone.
It's just
If they are going to steal this game, Team Hösli, they anyway are relying on Lukas Klima to miss his final stone. So the best they can do is set themselves up so that Lukas Klima's final stone is too difficult. The best you can do if you need to steal either a last end or an extra end All you can do is play your e-stones perfectly
Radku, běž s tím pryč,
and try to force a mistake from the opposition.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Same.
I just wanted to help you with the breaks.
Martin Rios trying to help, but getting in the way again.
Ich würde noch mal genau gleich.
Já taky.
So copy paste, please. Getting a little bit crowded out front there. The anti-clockwise handle definitely not open to Lukáš Klima for his final stone any longer, or not at the moment.
Linie gut. Breiter als vorhin. Länger. Oh, dann. Da haben wir nichts.
This one seems to be there all by itself. As you can see, copy paste. Most difficult shot in curling. Same again.
Okay, so.
Second. Ich würde den letzten fände ich nicht schlecht dort. Die Länge. Oder? Den letzten würdest du auch etwa dort anspielen. Du hast auch nachher der Linie gesehen.
Ja.
Getting down to last stones in our featured game here in Adelboden.
Lukáši, Lukáši.
And we may see, yeah, that was the danger of letting that stone get too close, is that you make the double take out much more possible.
Hlavně jsme to zametli, víš?
Ja, ja.
Ani
Ich
neznáš
sage
ten
noch, ich habe
pokazil.
das Gefühl, das ist der beste Shot. Wenn er ihn nicht
To by
hat.
bylo klidnější, tak dělat
Was willst du da? Noch machen zu und noch dort. Gut.
Jsem si říkal, že jak je to blíž, tak vlastně
Wenn wir auch fast overburied sind, ne?
a ty to hodíš stejně, tak bychom to mohli držet z té druhé strany.
As we said though, those two guards out front really blocking that anti-clockwise handle to the centre at least, and indeed still opportunity for Switzerland to put a bit of pressure on Lukáš Klima's final stones.
Gerade so vor der Vierlänge.
So dass wir möglich den Freeze nicht so gut spielen können.
Two important throws coming up for Philip Hösli.
Linie gut.
Und Nacht ist super.
Linie ist
gut.
gut. Muss noch curlen. Geh mal weg.
At the
Wird
very least,
besser.
the Swiss have to
Linie
be
ist gut.
lying shot when Klima comes to play his final
Weiter.
throw.
Oh,
Hefti.
sieht gut aus, Boys.
Yep, bring.
Ja, heftig, heftig.
That's exactly where they said they wanted to put it.
Schon mal dort, ja.
Nám 5, nebo.
Was ist?
And actually,
Ah, wieso ich?
to get to the forefoot towards the
Schon ein
centre,
Limit, aber
both handles are a little bit difficult. Two guards out front on the anti-clockwise handle, and that little red just in the front ring there.
Já se bojím, abych nehodil jakoby sem.
der Würster will
nebyl jsem
auch schon mit ihnen. Hinter der vorne 12 gehen wir als letztes nicht mehr.
On potom pojede sem. Tohle je
In
široké.
oder mit out?
3 stones to come, 2 for Lukáš Klima and his team from Czech Republic,
A není to
1
dobrý nápad,
for defending champions.
protože
Team Hösli.
jako naše nápady bylo tohle, s tím, že když tak to jenom otevřem, tohle, tohle,
Du sagst, was du möchtest.
tohle.
Okay, jetzt was ich mache.
Tohle. Mi přijde OK. Přijde ti, že to je moc steep?
I do think it's a good idea to open up one side of the sheet actually, because then whatever Philip Hösli does with his last stone, you will have a shot.
To ne, otevřu si to, že jo.
I don't mind
Protože
even
já když hodím tady ten freeze
removing
takhle,
that
budu
guard
hodit dobrý
closer to the
nápad,
centre line on
který teďka vlastně nebude mít.
the anti-clockwise handle. Because at the moment, both paths to
Je to přijde v pohodě, já si myslím, že ono není zas tak zlej.
are pretty much blocked.
Mně to přijde v pohodě.
Fajn.
I like this for a call actually.
Já udržuji někde prostě docela málo.
Málo. Okay.
That red in the front ring
Dostaneme co nejvíc na ksichtě, ne?
Co nejvíc
isn't
na
going
ksichtě
to
a nebo
count,
prostě
it's
až
not
ho
going to be
ztratíme.
important. to score 1 point from there. May as well try and use it, and you will also be opening up this clockwise handle. I think this is a nice, elegant call. Don't get too sucked into just trying to follow what your opposition did, trying to do it better. Glad to see the Czech team just pausing a second. You could just chase in that stone that Philip Hösli just threw, but I think this is a more elegant solution, because then whatever Philip Hösli throws with his final stone, you've given yourself a better chance, I think, to win the game there. But this game really going to last stones.
Okay.
The Czechs not so happy with that throw. Rios and Philip now in the way. It looks like that yellow that Philip threw with his first stone still there. That's why you heard the little frustration from the Czech team. But that looks much nicer already, because now the whole clockwise handle is open for Lukáš Klima to draw to the forefoot. Such a lot of discussion, 2 stones to come. Thank heavens we can't go to an extra end.
Tak, máš nějaký názor na rychlost? Jo. Nějaký 14,5?
Hele, on byl, já měl 15, ten co tam hodil, metl celou dobu. Myslím, že 14,5 je dobrá.
And I think that's exactly what they want to do. They want to put back a yellow stone pretty much where that previous red was. As we said, that stone in the front ring was really kind of blocking that clockwise handle. The anti-clockwise handle already blocked, no way to the pin really from there. Yeah, so pretty much where that red was originally. I think that's a nice spot. And then you will be forcing Klima to draw away from the centre line or across the centre line, but not really towards. Yeah, you don't want to leave him a hit and stick, so a little bit shorter is probably the tolerance for this shot. I think so. Even just a little bit short of the house is okay here. What they don't really want, for once, would be T-line. That would leave Lukáš Klima a much more straightforward shot. They really want this stone blocking that clockwise handle draw to the pin. So they don't want it too long and still have space for Klima that he can go around the back of it, and they don't want it too high in the house, otherwise they will leave Klima fairly straightforward hit and roll or hit and stick. So final throw from the Swiss, they will be certainly already lying 1. So they are already in a position to steal a point and win this game, and this looks lovely from Philip Hösli. That is precisely where they said they were putting it. And 8 shots out of 8. Actually, no, it was 7 out of 8, wasn't it? That was a mistake from Justin Hauser on his first throw. But the Swiss have certainly done all they can. They have put themselves in the best position they can to try to steal this game. I think now we will see Lukáš Klima follow the same path of Philip Hösli's first stone. Not at all an easy shot for Klima here. But as mentioned, the good news is we can't possibly get to an extra end, because we certainly need to eat something before the next game at 9. Final stone in our featured game in Adelboden. Last year's champions, Team Hösli, lying 2. Lukáš Klima has released his final throw of the game. The sweeper's on it straight away, but don't look too unhappy with the weight. The sweeper's keeping it clean, keeping it clean. This looks pretty nice. The sweeper's really attentive the whole way. They don't want it to catch a curl and jump away from them. And what a great shot by Lukas Klima.
Congrats. Good luck.
Good luck for the rest.
Phew.
Congrats.
Congrats.
Good luck.
So a second loss then for last year's champions.
Good luck.
This guest skip thingy not quite working out so well this year. And a really important win for Team Klima. They'll be delighted with that. They were a little bit slower to start, but really picked themselves up and switched the momentum. But fascinating game for us viewers to watch. So you have 25 minutes, viewers, until the final round this evening. That's on at 9 o'clock European time. Go quickly make a cup of tea, make yourself a sandwich. We will be back at 9 o'clock for our final round here in Adelboden. It's the World Curling Tour, 3rd edition, and we have just watched Team Lukas Klima from Czech Republic defeat last year's champions, Team Hösli from Switzerland.
OK. Tak tím pádem může být podobný, když uberu Bystopej, tak to ještě nevadí.